1. Promises made in 3 situations. You shouldn't take seriously. We often hear that talking is an art form. Truly, knowing how to listen is also an art, a profound wisdom. As the saying goes, it's easy to draw a dragon or a tiger, but hard to draw their bones. Easy to know a person's face, but not their heart. We can't truly know someone's intentions just by what they say. People around us can say anything at any time, but the choice to listen critically is in our hands. No matter how cunning someone may be, if we listen carefully and discerningly, their schemes will be revealed and difficult to execute. These ideas are vividly illustrated in everyday life, where promises made in the following 3 situations should not be taken seriously, as greater expectations often lead to deeper disappointments. In such cases, it's best to listen and not speak. Let's explore these situations. 1. Promises made over drinks. There's a fascinating historical tale from the end of the Yuan dynasty in China, where Zhu Yuanzhang and his comrades left the rebel army to recruit more troops. In the south, Zhu wished to persuade 3,000 men at a mountain camp to join him, so he visited and was warmly received with a lavish feast by the camp leader. After several rounds of drinks, Zhu revealed his true intentions, and the camp leader agreed to surrender. However, 3 days later, when Zhu sent his men to take over the troops, the camp leader reneged, embarrassing Zhu. Eventually, Zhu had to resort to trickery to secure the troops. This story highlights that promises made over drinks shouldn't be taken seriously. In modern society, with its numerous social interactions at meals and parties, beautiful words flow freely. However, upon sobering up, even if others remember their promises, they might deliberately misconstrue them for their own benefit. At such times, taking drunken promises seriously is overly naive. Therefore, if you're at a drinking table, it's best not to take any promises seriously and just listen. 2. Excessive compliments. As Zhuangzi stated, the fellowship of the noble is as insipid as water, while the fellowship of the petty is as sweet as wine. This implies that while the noble's affections may seem bland, they are long-lasting and genuine, whereas the petty's affections, though sweet, are easily broken. Indeed, the sweet words of the deceitful are like sweet wine, comforting to hear but ultimately harmful. As the ancients warned, unwarranted kindness often hides ulterior motives. In personal interactions, people frequently exchange compliments like, "You look great today," or "You're the best." But as a listener, if you mistake these for serious, sincere expressions and boast about them, you're being overly simplistic. Tang Jichen's advice is valuable for discerning flattery meant to manipulate. Thus, we must be wary of compliments, viewing them critically and soberly, and understand ourselves well enough not to be deceived. Therefore, when faced with excessive compliments, it's best not to take them seriously and just listen. 3. Casual social remarks. In meetings and conversations, people often make polite inquiries that don't hold much meaning, like asking if you'd like more food. Simply replying, "I'm good," is enough. Don't think they genuinely care whether you eat more or not. In life, there are many such superficial statements like, "Let's have lunch together sometime," "Make yourself at home," or "Just let me know if you need anything." These are just polite remarks. Don't naively believe them. Those who say, "Let's talk next time," generally mean there won't be a next time. Those who ask you not to bring anything when visiting, if you really show up empty-handed, might consider you too gullible. And those who say, "Tell me if there's anything you need," are usually unwilling to actually help. Therefore, we need the ability to interpret social politeness and act appropriately according to the context. 2. Do you make money by carrying water or digging wells? Before wells existed, Carrying water could meet your immediate needs, but if you have long-term vision and intelligence, you'd think about digging your own well, which is the real source of lasting wealth. Long ago, two monks lived in a temple on two adjacent mountains, named Not Hu and Ni Hu. There was no water on these mountains, so the monks had to go down to a stream at the foot of the mountain to fetch water. As they often met while carrying water, over time, they became close friends. 5 years passed this way. One day, monk Ni Hu went to fetch water as usual, but didn't see Not Hu. Ni Hu thought Not Hu might have overslept. The next day, Ni Hu went again but still did not find Not Hu. A week and then a month passed, and Not Hu still didn't show up. Worried, Ni Hu thought, maybe my friend is ill. I should visit to see if I can help. Upon arriving, Ni Hu found Not Hu practicing Tai Chi in front of the temple, looking perfectly healthy. Surprised, Ni Hu asked, Not Hu, you haven't come down the mountain to fetch water for a month. How do you still have water to drink? Not Hu smiled, led his friend to the back of the temple, pointed to a well and said, over the past 5 years, every day after carrying water and practicing, I spent my free time digging this well. Despite being busy, I always found time to dig, little by little. Now I have completed the well, and it provides a continuous flow of water. From now on, I no longer need to go down the mountain to fetch water. I can also save a lot of time to do what I like, such as practicing Tai Chi, which I love. The wise always know how to use their free time to create a continuous passive income for themselves or to enhance their strengths in another aspect to achieve long-term wealth and success. In every era, there will always be wealthy individuals, and each one is made by what they do in silence. Even when others do not understand, they know what they are doing. Therefore, when others understand, they have already succeeded. When others understand, they are already wealthy. Whether you want to be a well digger or a water carrier depends on you. Before wells, carrying water could meet your immediate needs, but with long-term vision and intelligence, digging your own well is the real source of lasting wealth. Of course, to dig a well while carrying water, you will certainly need to work harder and put in more effort than those who only focus on carrying water. However, once you successfully dig a quality well, it will bring long-term rewards to you and your family. Each individual faces 2 types of income, one from labor and the other from assets. Income from labor is the income earned from actual work, while income from assets can be long-term and passive, such as rental income, royalties, and stocks. Clearly, labor income tends to decrease as our energy is limited and might even plummet during a midlife crisis. Asset income, however, will continue to grow with asset accumulation, even when we are no longer able to work, providing a stable income stream. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago, and the second best time is now. The world does not have rich and poor people, but there are rich and poor mindsets. Initially, we all rely on our hands to accumulate wealth, but gradually, the rich accumulate wealth through assets while the poor continue to rely on their labor. Time is more important than money, but more important than time is our energy. We should diligently accumulate assets that can generate passive income while we are still strong, to avoid unexpected events or calmly face life as our energy diminishes. Life is not easy. You can't just have a plan A. You also need to be prepared with a plan B or even a plan Z for yourself. Having an emergency fund or sources of passive income is wise and something every adult should learn and practice from now on. In summary, to achieve sustainable wealth, one must possess 3 things: vision, intelligence, and a plan.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
3. A wise person never speaks ill of others. The philosopher Democritus once said, "The legacy of a knowledgeable person is worth far more than the wealth of a rich but ignorant person." What does this mean? The most valuable thing in life is the worth of the soul. On a train, a young boy looked out the window and exclaimed, "Dad, look! That tree is moving backwards!" The father smiled at his son. A young couple sitting next to them felt pity for the father because of the boy's seemingly intellectually delayed behavior. A little later, the boy excitedly called out again, "Dad, look up at the sky! The clouds are chasing us!" The young couple couldn't hold back anymore and said to the boy's father, "Why don't you take your son to a good doctor to treat his intellectual delay?" The boy's father smiled and replied, "We just came from the hospital." The couple immediately judged the doctors there as being very poor. At that point, the father said, "No, the doctor is actually very talented. My son has been blind since birth, and today is the first time he can see the world." Hearing this, the couple felt extremely embarrassed. When we live in this world, everyone has their own challenges. Before we fully understand someone's personality or circumstances, we shouldn't rush to judge someone just because of what we see on the outside. If you don't understand, remain silent, because you never know what someone else has gone through. 4. A wise person doesn't exaggerate. Anne has been the executive assistant for 7 years. Over these years, some colleagues liked her and some didn't. Those who disliked her made up stories, saying she got the job only because of her connections. Anne knew all this but chose to remain silent. One day, there was an incident at the company where some new design documents went missing from the department. Everyone pointed fingers at Vi, one of those who had previously spoken ill of Anne, calling her a thief. The CEO assigned Anne to investigate the matter. After reviewing the security footage and interviewing the remaining team members who were in the room before the incident, Anne found the missing documents. It turned out Vi wasn't the thief. She had just carelessly mixed the new documents with old ones and stored them away. After the investigation, Vi thought she was surely going to lose her job, expecting Anne to use this situation to get back at her. However, Anne didn't do that. She reported the truth to the CEO without exaggerating any details and even asked the CEO to consider Vi's previous excellent performance and let her keep her job. A wise person will not exaggerate, even if there has been a past conflict. This not only shows moral integrity, but also demonstrates a strong ability to control one's emotions. Even when you see the true nature of life, it's important to treat it with kindness and tolerance. This way, you won't let your good nature change, nor will you let the external environment change you. 5. Wise people don't argue. Mrs. Duong once shared a story like this. One day, while she was speaking in front of a large audience, a female student loudly criticized her, claiming that Mrs. Duong was spreading dangerous ideas that negatively affected the student's morale. Mrs. Duong was surprised and didn't understand why the student criticized the content of her speech. Faced with this baseless criticism, Mrs. Duong really wanted to prove to everyone that she was innocent. However, standing at the podium in a hall with hundreds of eyes on her, she realized that engaging in a petty argument with the student would only attract more extreme judgments. Thinking this way, Mrs. Duong pretended she hadn't heard anything and continued with her presentation. After finishing, many teachers and students offered different opinions about Mrs. Duong's teaching methods. She nodded in thanks, but did not blame the student. If you are truly right, you don't need to explain yourself to everyone or argue with anyone. There's a type of intelligence in life called not disputing. No matter how much you argue, the world won't treat you any kinder. Some will agree, others will disagree. As Lu Xun once said, each person's joys and sorrows are different. Similarly, Everyone's perspectives and interpretations of the same event also vary. Some people, due to pride, act irrationally. We should learn to keep a cool head when facing complex issues. Sometimes, not arguing about what's right or wrong isn't because you are cowardly, weak, or incompetent, but because you understand who deserves an explanation and who does not warrant your emotional investment. In life, don't mock others when you are better than them. Don't judge others when you don't understand them. Don't make up stories about those you dislike. And don't stubbornly argue with anyone when you know it's unnecessary. Try your best to live for what you love and write your own story, one that doesn't include those who negatively impact your quality of life. 6. Work steadily and achieve success in everything you do. Great achievements are not made without perseverance. Those who achieve great things have faced numerous challenges, but their determination remains strong. They endure hardships that others cannot bear and ultimately reach heights that others cannot. Don't complain over small setbacks. Work steadily, and you will succeed in everything you do. Walk calmly, and you will go far. Being too honest can sometimes be a disadvantage. It's important to be kind to others, but always with moderation, because being overly honest can make you vulnerable. Remember, you may offer kindness, but it's not always reciprocated in the same way. People can take advantage of you if you're too gentle. They might feel it's easy to impose on you, dumping their responsibilities onto you. Don't be overly kind, as there are always those who might exploit your generosity to harm you. The more you yield, the more others will push. The more you step back, the more they will pursue. A gentle person can easily be oppressed, just like a gentle horse is easy to ride. In all things, maintain moderation and set limits. Being too gentle can eventually lead to losing vigilance. Being too humble can eventually make you weak. 7. Finding strength in silence. The art of growing up with resilience and wisdom. In life, if you truly want to mature, you need to have a strong spirit. Being kind doesn't mean you should let others bully or manipulate you. When dealing with others, you must be a bit tough. Here, being tough doesn't mean retaliating or holding grudges. Instead, it means not arguing, not speaking out in anger, but rather being calm and quiet. Sometimes, silence is the ultimate form of wisdom. It helps you become stronger and learn to protect yourself. Don't always feel too embarrassed or overly patient accommodating others. To stand firm, you sometimes need to be a bit heartless. Be closer to those who are grateful and stay as far away as possible from the unscrupulous. If someone undermines your dignity, bravely stand up for yourself. When it's time to act, do so. This is the best and most valuable way to respond, honoring your kindness. 8. In communication, keep your words sweet. It's essential to learn how to speak effectively. The saying, "Learn to eat, learn to speak," highlights the importance of communication. Every word you utter should earn respect and pierce the heart, reaching deep into others' feelings. When interacting with people, be adaptable and flexible. Know how to adjust your words according to the situation and audience. This adaptability will make others feel you are worthy of their help. Just a little sweetness in your words can leave a lasting positive impression. In the workplace, those who are articulate and can charm with their words often receive a lot of support from others. People feel that it's generous to guide someone who might seem less skilled. In life, those who know how to speak well navigate their social circles effectively, winning over both adults and children with their charm. Moreover, always smile and be friendly when you talk. Everyone gravitates towards someone with a bright smile and positive energy, rather than someone who is constantly stern and downcast. 9. Work needs to be done right. When handling tasks, you should never rush or just focus on short-term benefits, as hurrying often leads to poor outcomes. It's always better to be calm and composed. Being steady and composed is an attitude everyone should adopt in life. It's essential to approach work with a steady hand, decisiveness, rhythm, and effectiveness. If you do your work carelessly and without responsibility, other people's impression of you will significantly decrease. No matter what you do, always check with your conscience to ensure you're not ashamed of yourself or others. You must speak carefully, not just saying or promising things without thinking. Act deliberately, not impulsively. And keep a steady mind, not easily revealing your thoughts so others cannot fully read you. Small concessions can make big achievements difficult. Those who achieve great things often endure hardships that others cannot, which allows them to reach heights others cannot attain. Don't just complain about minor issues. Work steadily and you'll succeed. Walk calmly and you'll go far. In summary, being kind is a valuable quality in a person, but your kindness should also include a bit of sharpness. Otherwise, it might be taken advantage of, ultimately hurting you. Living in this world, you need to be a bit tough-hearted. For certain situations and people, you must be a bit ruthless to truly live as yourself, freely and peacefully. It's not about having a heart that's too hard. It's about avoiding one that's too soft. A truly steady person is modest in behavior, not showy or boastful. They first stay calm and think things through without rushing, comparing, or being envious. They are always true to themselves. 10. Is it right to always maintain a high-intensity work ethic? Ka Hui has been successful in the field of painting, a passion he has pursued with dedication. From a young age, Ka Hui was captivated by the masterpieces left by previous generations. This inspired him to dream of someday having his own collection of iconic paintings known not only for their aesthetic appeal, but also for their timeless value. Over time, he honed his skills and enriched his knowledge to quickly realize this dream. A few years later, his explorations and persistent efforts began to bear fruit. A meticulously crafted piece brought his name into the spotlight, known among peers for its unique style and creative flair, a style that was fresh and unexplored until then. As he matured, the depth and originality of Ka Hui's ideas became even more pronounced. There was no doubt within the professional community that Ka Hui was a rare gem in the national art scene. His reputation grew, and so did the number of commissions and collaborations. However, once he established his current standing, Ka Hui always felt he needed to work harder to maintain his performance, aiming to create more quality artworks to serve the art-loving community. Some nights, the pressure of his own expectations weighed on him. He feared being overshadowed by his past successes and worried that his new works might not compare favorably. This fear gradually led to exhaustion taking over without him realizing it. No matter how exceptional one is, we must acknowledge that we are ordinary individuals with normal routines. However, some manage extraordinary tasks that few others can reach. Thus, no matter how special, remember to take adequate breaks to recharge. In every aspect of life, we cannot overlook the importance of inspiration. A person who works with both expertise and inspiration can create works of significantly higher quality compared to meticulous but mechanical labor. To find that inspiration, sometimes we must allow ourselves a sufficient break, as per our personal circumstances, to rejuvenate and rediscover the energy we've been neglecting. Many people, due to overcommitment and the vast amount of work they take on, find themselves with little personal time. Ka Hui's case exemplifies why it's crucial not to sacrifice everything for sustained success by continuously maintaining a high-intensity work ethic, as this is not advisable. Sometimes, Stepping back isn't a sign of weakness, but a strategy to better understand and surprise competitors with truly high-quality advancements. Live for yourself, for your health and happiness, not based on others' expectations. Only then can true success come and stay with you for the long run. 11. Not speaking nonsense is a form of virtue. Words of value should be reserved for those who are worth listening to because every statement reflects a person's character and sophistication. There's this guy who constantly rambles on about everything from trivial to major topics all day long, greatly annoying his colleagues. If you ask him a question, he might start talking about everything under the sun, never getting to the point. Or when you're rushing to finish work, he might pop up next to you, sometimes asking about one thing, sometimes mentioning another, trying to drag you into endless conversations around the office. When discussing business, he might go from Steve Jobs to Bill Gates, circle back to Jack Ma, and throw in a bunch of grandiose morals, but in the end, the conclusion is as irrelevant as one man's beard in another woman's chin. Famous Taiwanese writer Kevin Tsai once said, "There's a world of difference between being eloquent and babbling endlessly. Sitting with a quiet person for an hour might feel like two because of the tension between both. However, just 10 minutes with a chatterbox can feel as exhausting as a century." The real horror with someone who babbles isn't just that they talk a lot, but that they spout meaningless drivel from one topic to another, wasting not only their own energy, but also the time of those around them. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 12. Refraining from harsh words is a form of self-discipline. We often encounter people who speak bluntly and harshly, yet consider themselves to be straightforward and honest. While honesty and straightforwardness are valuable qualities, they should be accompanied by sensitivity and expressed at appropriate times. In the wrong moments, blunt words can become cruel, and straightforwardness can be perceived as tactless. Polite and wise individuals always know how to put themselves in someone else's shoes, paying attention to the other person's feelings and emotions before speaking in any situation. There's an old saying, "Words are free, so choose ones that please both sides," highlighting the importance of making both yourself and others comfortable in a conversation. 13. Not making casual promises is a sign of respect. In both our personal and professional lives, we often put ourselves in difficult situations if we habitually make promises in any circumstance. It's usually fine if these are just casual agreements. However, if we are in a tricky situation that affects the interests of others, our promises can become binding and lead to negative consequences for many people, including ourselves. A promise represents one's reliability and moral character, and shouldn't be taken lightly or frequently used, only to lose its significance. For example, Germans often respond with, "I will do my best," instead of promising, "I will definitely complete it well." They avoid making commitments that could overextend their capabilities. Instead of recklessly risking their credibility, they prefer to be cautious in their words, limiting promises in any situation to maintain trust in themselves. In both our personal and professional lives, we often put ourselves in difficult situations if we habitually make promises in any circumstance. It's usually fine if these are just casual agreements. However, if we are in a tricky situation that affects the interests of others, our promises can become binding and lead to negative consequences for many people, including ourselves. 14. Being tolerant means not arguing over minor issues. Sometimes in life, we inevitably encounter moments of conflict and disagreement with those around us. These conflicts can escalate or diminish based on how skillfully we handle them. However, they can also grow from minor to major if we get caught up in unnecessary disputes and arguments. Former U.S. President Lincoln once said, "Any man who is resolved to make significant achievements should never waste his time on pointless arguments." Indeed, every time we argue, we might release our anger but lose self-control, leading to negative consequences that affect both our interest and relationships. As a result, we leave an impression of being narrow-minded and petty in the eyes of others. 15. Speak your mind wisely. An old proverb says, "Speak not deeply with the shallow-minded," advising us not to share our deepest truths in superficial relationships. Most conflicts arise when we say things that shouldn't be said to those we aren't close with. Even when our words are sincere, it's wise to hold back a bit. With people we don't get along with, the more correct our words, the harder they are to hear, and understandably, the less they want to hear them. Valuable words should be reserved for valuable people. That is how a wise and composed person communicates, avoiding unnecessary complications. 16. Lesson on patience. In the book Marie Antoinette, The Portrait of an Average Woman by Stefan Zweig, there's a quote, "We spend a year learning to speak, but a lifetime learning to be silent. Speaking well is a skill. Quietly observing is wisdom." There's a story about a young man who found a very valuable tea kettle. He cherished it so much that to prevent theft, he even kept it by his bed while he slept. One night, he accidentally knocked the lid off the kettle in his sleep. Startled, he woke up feeling sad and annoyed, muttering to himself that the lid must be broken, and what use was the kettle without it? In frustration, he grabbed the kettle from his bedside and threw it out the window, then went back to sleep irritated. Surprisingly, the next morning, he discovered that the broken lid was actually intact. It had landed on his fluffy slipper. The young man was speechless with frustration and regret as he recalled throwing the kettle out the window the night before. What was the point of keeping the lid now? Angered again, he smashed the lid to pieces. After breakfast, as he was about to leave for work, he instinctively looked up and saw the lidless kettle hanging from a pine branch outside his window. At this point, everyone might feel a mix of amusement and pity for the young man. After all, his actions were influenced by his emotions, and fate seemed out of his hands. If he had just taken a moment to calm down and reconsider the situation, things might have turned out differently. It makes you think, doesn't everyone have a tea kettle hanging from a tree moment in their life? Sometimes we lose our composure over small issues, fail to see things clearly, and make hasty decisions that we later regret. In reality, fate gave the young man 2 chances to save himself, but unfortunately, he acted impulsively, and as a result, he lost something he loved. It is often said that acting on impulse is devilish, and that one should always think before acting. If we give ourselves a chance to calm down, to think and handle things with a bit more patience and a positive outlook, we might reduce regrets in our lives. 17. Lesson on restraint. A while ago, I met up with D, a friend of mine. D mentioned that he almost got divorced last month. D is known for loving his wife, so it was surprising to hear he almost ended up divorcing. The reason turned out to be trivial matters. On Valentine's Day, D was away on a business trip. When he returned, he forgot to buy a gift, which upset his wife. "You forget our anniversary and Valentine's Day. Do you even care about me at all?" Sitting on the sofa, D thought about how tired and exhausted he was from working for his family, and yet he got scolded as soon as he got home. In a moment of anger, he raised his voice at his wife. The argument escalated. dredging up issues from the past, and they even declared, "Let's go to the courthouse tomorrow to get divorced." The next morning, they went to the courthouse but forgot their household registration, so they couldn't proceed with the divorce. Both were stunned. Isn't an ID enough to get a divorce? At that moment, his wife's attitude wasn't as firm as the day before. She asked D if he intentionally forgot the document and if he really wanted to divorce. After a night of calm, D's anger subsided. He felt that their relationship was too deep to sever. Having loved each other for over 10 years, including a period of long-distance relationship, it seemed wasteful to divorce. They went home together. Once home, D immediately started doing laundry and cooking. Even the happiest couples think about divorce more than 200 times and want to tear each other apart over 50 times in their lifetime. It's not that they don't love each other, it's just that anger takes over their minds at those moments. As the saying goes, when you're angry, your IQ is 0, and making decisions in such a state is the most foolish thing to do. So, whenever you're facing issues, give yourself a chance to calm down and don't let angry words hurt others. 18. The Power of Silence. In Stefan Zweig's book, Marie Antoinette, The Portrait of an Average Woman, there is a line that says, "We spend a year learning to speak, but a lifetime learning how to be silent." Being able to speak is a skill. Quietly observing is also a form of tolerance and wisdom. In real life, many people like to make a big deal out of small things. If something slightly bothers them, they want to disturb the peace of those around them. The more urgent the situation, the more we need to stay calm. We may not be able to change others, but we can try to change ourselves. Learn to put conflicts and anger aside and handle things coolly. What does it mean to handle things coolly? It means when you are experiencing bad emotions, don't rush to make a decision. Instead, put those feelings aside and give yourself 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 hours, or even 3 days to digest them. Maybe when you relax, things will start to make sense. Handling things coolly is a sign of maturity and stability. It's a form of intelligence that can resolve conflicts, disputes, and help you avoid unnecessary regrets. So no matter how bad the situation is, don't be too hot-tempered. If you encounter something and fail to stay calm and measure your responses, then you're not just throwing away the teapot lid, but the whole teapot may leave you. When you start learning how to control your temper, good fortune will gradually come your way. When you can escape the control of your emotions and learn to master them, that's when you truly grow up. 19. Generous spirit. The more books you read and the more paths you walk, the faster you progress. The fastest way for a person to improve themselves is by constantly reading and learning, which can transform their life. We've all likely met someone who is forgiving and generous. They are not self-serving but always think about and care for others. Whenever someone needs help, they are ready to spend their time assisting and sharing with that person. Their words are sincere and kind-hearted, making others feel the goodness and generosity radiating from them. As a result, they inspire many people, influencing others to change their thoughts and become more attentive to those around them. Generous individuals are often seen as successful in life, not only in community activities and their careers, but also in their personal lives. A key point to note is that anyone can be generous, regardless of their wealth or status, as long as they are sincere towards others. We shouldn't be too calculative about minor details. Taking a step back opens up a broader perspective. Rather than focusing solely on personal gain or loss, it's better to be generous in dealing with situations or with people who have hurt us before. You too can be one of these people by cultivating and refining your character.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
20. Speak with measure. People will praise or criticize, but nobody truly knows what it's like to live your life. Wealth, even as vast as a mountain, will eventually be consumed. Virtue, though hard-earned over generations, can be destroyed in a moment by careless words, criticisms, and harmful speech. The ancients taught, excessive talking depletes vital energy. Idle talk brings about disputes. In other words, talking too much can drain your energy and cause unnecessary conflict over right and wrong, good and bad. Buddha also said, "Silence is true dharma, and so is speaking with purpose." Therefore, I've learned that a word should only be spoken if it brings understanding, peace, and benefit to others. We should not hold back on such words, for they bring boundless merit. However, we must be careful with each word, especially those that could cause pain or loss, as they will bring about equivalent consequences. A lifetime of virtue can vanish with just one malicious word. Words are free, so choose them to please each other. A wise person knows what to say and what not to say. This is also a way of cultivating one's virtue by speaking carefully to avoid disaster brought by words. 21. Deep learning. Tang Quoc Phien once said, "A person's temperament is natural and hard to change. Only reading books can change one's temperament." The ancients valued physical appearances, but reading books can also transform one's inner nature. For those who practice and those who don't, there might not be any visible difference after one day, only a slight difference after a month, but after a year, the change is complete. Similarly, the practice of reading books is like this. Regular readers of wise and saintly texts will have a different temperament from those who do not read. A person might read many books and then forget all about them. So some ask what the use of reading so much is. Reading books is like eating food. As children, we might taste many foods, but forget their flavors as we grow older. However, it's undeniable that they become a part of us, integrated into our being. A person who diligently reads books and accumulates knowledge will find that understanding blends into their soul. Their way of thinking, seeing, and interacting with every situation changes gradually, even if sometimes we don't notice it. As the saying goes, read thousands of books, travel thousands of miles. For someone who wants to progress quickly, the only way is to continually read and learn. This can truly change one's life. Of course, nothing in this world is eternal. Every path will undergo changes. Thus, every path must be walked and experienced by oneself to draw conclusions and seek one's own way. 22. Perspectives and character, the view from different heights. People often say, "It takes a year to learn how to speak, but a lifetime to learn how to be silent." Some people, for a minor benefit, are quick to speak harshly to others. Sometimes, a small argument over a few cents at the market can lead to a heated exchange, and whether they win or lose, both end up frustrated. However, there are those who, despite being treated unfairly or misunderstood, remain calm, relaxed, and composed. The difference lies in each person's character. Some people look down from the second floor and see nothing but trash. But from the 22nd floor, others see the city in all its vibrant colors. Different heights give different perspectives, and similarly, different attitudes. Life, too, is like this. With a broad vision and a grand character, one can lead a more serene and expansive life. A frog at the bottom of a well sees the sky as nothing more than the top of the well, whereas an eagle soaring high sees the vast, endless sky. Each judges the world from their own point of view. The frog's view of the sky is just like the opening of the well. Our perspective not only shapes our judgments, but also defines our character. 23. The power of hard work. Everyone has goals, big or small, and if you want to achieve these goals, you need to work hard. The more effort you put into your work, the greater your achievements will be, and only then can you turn your goals into reality. A common trait among successful people is their relentless effort and perseverance. Compared to average individuals, they can endure more hardships and are more committed to striving and working harder than others. If someone is a successful scientist, for instance, he must have put in a lot of effort and overcome numerous failures to achieve success. No one is an exception. Every successful person has had to work hard. Developing a positive work attitude is extremely important. Once you have the quality of not fearing difficulties, being willing to face challenges, and persevering to the end, you can be successful in any job and in any competitive situation. Bill Gates believes that exceeding what others expect of you is very valuable and helps broaden your perspective on your career. If you only do your job mechanically, you won't fully understand the profession you're pursuing. It's crucial to put in effort and be bold in exploring new opportunities. 24. Everyone hopes to achieve great things in their lives and reach the peak of their careers. Life awakens as we move forward, and over the years, our efforts will come to fruition. No matter which career path you choose, it requires years of dedication. Even everyday tasks need to be done well, and every day we should strive to improve. 25. Living a fulfilling life. We cannot choose the life we are born into, but we can choose the way we live it. We should be tolerant and generous, not overly eager for fame or fortune. Whether it's a gentle breeze or a light rain, both can be graceful and meaningful. We should approach our tasks with ease and tranquility, finding joy whether we look up or down. By not striving too hard or being deceitful, we can appreciate the simplicity and sincerity of human life. This allows us to nurture our well-being and ultimately remain indifferent to the world's gains and losses, successes and failures. 26. Making peace with yourself and going with the flow. Have you ever put a lot of effort and dedication into a subject only to end up disappointed with your grades at the end of the semester? This could leave you feeling down for quite a while. You might have set a goal to be recognized as the Employee of the Year and eagerly planned to achieve it by excelling in both your main duties and additional tasks assigned by your superiors. However, sometimes someone else might outperform you, and you might not meet your original objective. Life often doesn't go as planned. Just because we set goals and strive hard doesn't always mean we will reap the rewards, as many factors can influence the outcome beyond our control. After experiencing such setbacks, you might feel restless and frustrated, unable to find a solution. Sometimes, you might even want to give up and live a simpler life without struggle, thinking, "Why bother when everything negates my efforts?" However, have you ever considered that without specific goals, things could be even worse? What works for one person might not work for another. You may focus so much on reaching a distant goal that you overlook the beauty of the journey itself. We often regret past actions, thinking we could have done better. Making mistakes is a normal part of life. It's how we learn and improve. It's essential to stay calm and analyze each fall to gain valuable experiences for future challenges. So, instead of confining yourself to negative thoughts after a mistake, remember that your efforts weren't in vain. Perhaps you just haven't found the perfect way to succeed yet. It's one thing to say this, but another to live it, especially when faced with challenges, whether personal or involving friends or family. We can easily discuss other situations but might struggle to apply the same logic to our own lives. Creating beautiful wooden sculptures requires overcoming many technical errors and developing skills over time. We often see only the final flawless creations and not the initial struggles of the craftsman. Similarly, we might feel overwhelmed when things don't go as planned, tempted to give up instead of learning from our mistakes to perfect our approach. Let's not be too hard on ourselves or others. We are all ordinary beings on this earth, without magical powers to foresee and avoid future problems. Sometimes, mistakes are not just errors but a testament to our efforts and dedication. 27. 5 emotional traps wealthy people avoid falling into. When you ask a successful person about their journey, you often hear about the insecurities, fears, and disappointments they have faced. No matter which area you want to improve, career, finances, or social relationships, you will encounter emotional traps along the way. How do you deal with them? Susan David, a psychology expert from Harvard University, outlines how to recognize and overcome these obstacles in her book, Emotional Agility. Emotional trap. 1. Fear of social pressure. People tend to choose what many others around them choose because things are much easier and quicker if we go with the majority, writes Susan David. Hence, when you decide to pursue something different, like an unusual major or a new lifestyle, you inevitably face a lot of social pressure, accompanied by feelings not to be taken lightly: insecurity, hesitation, doubt, comparison, and loss of motivation. Imagine you are a freshman girl dreaming of becoming a doctor, but you've been raised in a culture that tells you girls are bad at science. Then you do poorly on your first biology test. Chances are you might switch majors and give up on your dream. The solution, according to the author, is to know what is important to you. What values can you compromise on or not? Passion, kindness, environmental protection, integrity. Susan David believes that strong values give you more willpower and resilience and help you better withstand criticism, stereotypes, and limiting beliefs. Emotional trap. 2. Regretting comfort and your old self. When it's time to improve yourself, many mourn the comfort and familiarity of their old ways. Some hesitate to move to a city with more opportunities because they regret leaving relationships behind. Others fear losing the stability of a regular job when considering starting their own business. The discomfort also comes from letting go of an old identity. We often find it hard to explore new things while still clinging to our golden past, like being an excellent student or an outstanding employee. Every choice involves a loss. You abandon the path you don't take, and any such abandonment brings sadness, pain, or even regret, Susan writes. Her advice is to let go of old, ragged ambitions while reinforcing the meanings you will perceive when acting in alignment with future goals. Emotional trap. 3. Discomfort with new endeavors. Besides letting go of the familiar, the idea of doing something new also brings negative feelings. Changing and innovating yourself isn't always fun or easy, especially in the midst of it. For example, if you fear social interactions and a friend invites you to a party, your most likely response might be to decline. But if attending the party holds significant value for you or nurtures a new value you are embracing, like friendship or networking, you might push through your fear and accept the invitation. At the party, you will experience another discomfort, more than if you had stayed home. These initial discomforts are the price of admission for a more meaningful life, Susan asserts. Emotional trap 4. Overwhelm when pursuing new goals. Once you've set off towards your ideal life, the next emotions to watch out for are stress and overwhelm. Change takes time. We can't lose 10 kilograms in a week, switch careers instantly, or become a master artist overnight. The key here is to leave your comfort zone slowly. The ideal upgrade is small adjustments and gradual progress, advises Susan David. In Emotional Agility, the psychology expert encourages readers to position themselves at the edge of their capabilities, a place where we are not overconfident or complacent, but also not so lacking in ability that we feel overwhelmed. Emotional Trap 5. Not accepting the difficulties of an ideal life. Finally, once you're living your dream life, you'll find that discomfort doesn't just disappear. Sometimes, living true to your beliefs means choosing a path that makes life more challenging, and you'll still face discomfort, stress, and conflict. Susan gives vivid examples in Emotional Agility. Famous author Elizabeth Gilbert, known for Eat, Pray, Love, discovered that while she loves writing, focusing solely on it can make the writing process very challenging. Or take Jane Goodall, a renowned conservationist who often cried over the personal sacrifices her career demanded. A friend once asked why she was so sad. Goodall's reply, as recounted in the book, was surprising. "I told my friend, I think I cry because I'm giving up the right to be selfish." Weird, right? 28. Good speech can lead to good fortune. Throughout history, there have been many lessons about people who, due to careless speech, have brought trouble upon themselves. Speaking and communicating is an art form, and mastering it means having control over your own destiny. Truly intelligent people will never say the following two things. 1. Untruthful words. Life is really quite simple. The attitude we use to treat life is the same attitude that life will treat us with in return. Some people always like to use tricks in their communications with others to gain an advantage. Others praise themselves to the skies as if they are the best. However, not everyone is gullible. If the other party is smart enough, they will see through these deceptive maneuvers. And the result of speaking untruthfully will harm the speaker himself. Instead of straining to sound clever or impressive, it's best to be simple and honest. Being honest is the best way to gain others' trust, and only by doing so can your career and life become easier. 2. Unkind remarks about others. Many people indulge themselves too much while being harsh on others. In their eyes, others always do things wrong and always have flaws, and they like to blame. But blaming is easy, whereas doing better themselves is hard. Everyone has their own limits and ugly scars they don't want to reveal. Your words might unintentionally hurt others, damage their dignity, and touch on their self-respect. So don't use stories as gifts or speak about others for entertainment. Casual gossip that lasts all day will only waste your time. Truly smart people know how to keep quiet and not get involved in trivial talk. Instead, speak less and work more effectively as a wise way to behave. Instead of talking a lot, show everything through your actions. Only good actions will make others respect and admire you. Of course, achieving this is hard, but those who manage to do so are the ones who can succeed and build a significant career in life. 29. The power of humility. Navigating life's challenges with grace. Becoming a better person. Through humility. Humility makes you more appealing to others. Humility involves lowering your head and diminishing your ego, which helps you see your own shortcomings and continually improve yourself. Being humble doesn't mean only bowing down submissively. It's also about knowing how to behave. Indeed, in life, every challenge or event is like a door that doesn't quite fit our size. Sometimes, the door is lower than our head, and other times, it's as narrow as half our body. To get through it, a wise person knows to bow their head, bend over, and lean, while a stubborn person will hit the wall, injuring themselves without getting through. It's best to take steady steps with a humble attitude rather than being arrogant about immediate successes or getting discouraged by temporary failures. When we are young, we naturally want to assert ourselves, filled with willpower and desire. While this is valuable, it can also lead to arrogance, complacency, competitiveness, and a lack of humility. Overconfidence prevents us from learning from others. To stop learning is to lose. In Japan, there is a belief that a grain-heavy rice stalk bows lower. Learning to lower your head to get through small doors on your life's path is a skill. It's not about feeling inferior or weak, but about having your abilities deeply and sharply honed. Great minds are often humble. Isaac Newton saw himself merely as a child playing on the beach who happened to find a beautiful pebble, while the vast ocean of truth lay before him. His truth was, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." He never dared to consider himself a giant. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 30. The virtue of integrity, living uprightly like a gentleman. 90 degrees of integrity, straight, fair, and upright like a gentleman. 90 degrees represents a right angle, which means being straightforward and honest. Similarly, when working, one should be straightforward, fair, and impartial, acting with transparency and integrity like a gentleman. Living honestly and fairly according to one's conscience is not easy. We often make excuses for ourselves, like others do it, so I do it. Or we think that being straightforward and honest can lead to disadvantages. As a result, many people have surrendered to material temptations and money. To achieve this, we must let go of selfishness, avoid biases, personal likes and dislikes, and reject weak compromises. You need to be brave and determined to always do the right thing even when no one is watching and face tough choices. Or you might find honesty in being true to yourself and your words, or when facing serious consequences for your choices. Think about it. If you can maintain fairness and give precious things to those who deserve them, you're also helping make the world a better, more worthwhile place to live. Living uprightly without feeling guilty or ashamed, proud and bold like the pine and cypress trees, symbols of the stalwart gentlemen of the past, is a character and wisdom that needs to be patiently and persistently cultivated. 31. Living sincerely, treating others with genuine care. Living sincerely means treating others with honesty and integrity, without deceit or pursuing selfish interests that harm others. This straightforward approach is always favored because people generally prefer an ugly truth over a beautiful lie. Those who live sincerely naturally attract others, as humans are drawn to truth and authenticity. Sincere individuals inspire trust and offer a comforting presence to friends and family. Being around them, we feel secure and at peace, without the need to be cautious or suspicious. There's a saying, "Lose trust once, and all trust is lost." Money can be earned back, but once credibility is gone, it's like spilled water that can't be fully recovered. Deceit may harm others less, but harms oneself more. Ultimately, any gains made unfairly must be returned, and the consequences of harming others will have to be faced fully by the one who causes them. Being sincere is not only good for others, but primarily benefits oneself. Sincerity should be deeply rooted in genuine feelings to truly persuade others. However, sincerity must be expressed with tact, respect, and cultural awareness. Otherwise, it can come across as crude and unacceptable. Distinguish between true wisdom and mere cunning or slyness, which are used by those who seek personal gain. Living with sincerity is truly the wisest way to live. 32. 360-degree performance, working thoroughly, thoughtfully, and excellently. The term 360 degrees symbolizes a full circle, representing a complete and perfect approach to handling tasks. In our work environment, we encounter various types of people, each with different work attitudes. Some work hard, aiming for success. Some are relaxed, and others might be negligent, doing just enough to get by. Work attitude greatly impacts performance. Although we can't claim that a particular attitude guarantees success, it's evident that successful people share similar work ethics. In general, there are three types of people at work. 1. The negligent ones. Their motto often is, "Why work hard when everyone is paid the same?" They don't adhere to work hours, ignore responsibilities beyond their duties, and don't take initiative. When others advance, they comfort themselves by thinking, "Promotions are for a few, most are just like me." 2. The complainers. These individuals are often disappointed and pessimistic, always blaming others for undesired outcomes. Despite having potential, their gloomy attitude hampers their abilities and prevents them from enjoying their work. Their negativity tends to affect others too. 3. The go-getters. Always busy, these optimistic individuals are enthusiastic about their tasks and maintain a positive attitude. Even in tough times, they proactively find solutions, keeping their spirits high. Everyone appreciates them for their positivity, even during busy days. Over time, negligent individuals are likely replaced by more enthusiastic ones. Complainers struggle to gain trust from leadership and seldom get promotion opportunities. However, go-getters find success and joy in their work. To become a go-getter, one must handle every task with care and precision, manage relationships well, and earn trust through sincerity and confidence. This will lead to an ideal and perfect outcome. Additionally, maintaining a genuine and straightforward attitude, putting oneself in others' shoes, and fostering empathy and understanding are crucial. This also enhances cooperation and is a wise approach to interaction. Success has never been easy. Just as gold must endure intense heat to remove impurities and achieve perfection, success requires strict discipline, patience, and continual self-improvement. This way, one can achieve a fulfilling and complete life. 33. Stay sharp in prosperity. Stay calm in adversity. During prosperous times, it's important to stay alert, and in difficult times, it's crucial to remain calm. Both blessings and luck are created by our own actions. These days, many of us are busy with everyday life, and few have the time to reflect on their lives. We all admire the success and good fortune of others, but rarely consider why those around us often achieve such success. In reality, success is partly due to luck, and partly due to individual effort and perseverance. An old saying goes, "Know both yourself and others, and you will be successful in every battle, and by doing our best, we can bring happiness to ourselves." Here are 2 rules that many successful people keep in mind. 1. Don't be complacent about your success. Everyone should always be ready for potential dangers. There's no such thing as a single effort guaranteeing a lifetime of ease. At any time, we must remain alert and wise, continually striving to do our jobs well. When we are experiencing favorable times, we must innovate and create more opportunities to elevate our success even further. Advancing our careers doesn't mean stepping on others. We must rise based on our own capabilities. In life, knowing when enough is crucial, as excessive greed often leads to greater losses than gains. 2. Use reason to handle problems. Life has its ups and downs, with happiness and sorrow intertwined. The most important thing when facing difficulties is to maintain your composure and not lose confidence or succumb to life's storms. Blaming fate only makes things worse. By maintaining a strong spirit to face life's fluctuations, you'll find that when one door closes, another opens. There's no obstacle that cannot be overcome as long as we believe in ourselves, never give up on the future, and keep a stable mindset. Then eventually, luck will smile on your persistent efforts. Consider the life of Chu the Qian, marked by significant ups and downs. He rose from deep darkness and achieved brilliant success that many admire. He shared, "When facing failure, don't view it negatively. Try to see the issue more positively. It's not easy to remain calm, but the more disheartened you are, the harder it is to stand firm. Don't worry too much about what others think. To move forward, just believe that tomorrow will be better than today." Prosperity requires alertness, and adversity requires calmness. Blessings and luck are indeed made by ourselves. As long as we can truly understand the meaning of life, we can lead a happy life. 34. Being too smart can be your downfall. Moving too fast can lead to mistakes. Don't think you're too clever only to face failure later on. If you pay attention to Japanese cuisine, especially sushi, you might know Jiro Ono, who is known as a sushi master and the owner of the prestigious 3 Michelin-starred Sukiyabashi Jiro restaurant. He once shared that one of the secrets to creating top-quality sushi is the quality of the rice. It's said that to ensure the best quality, he uses 3 different types of water, one for soaking the rice, another for rinsing it, and a third for cooking. In a pot of sushi rice, he never allows more than 4 grains of inferior quality. People asked, would diners really notice if there were more than 4? Jiro Ono replied, "No, only I would notice." They immediately said, "If the diners can't tell, why do you care? That's just foolish." Jiro Ono shook his head, disagreeing with this viewpoint. Only clever business people would want to cut corners to gain benefits more quickly, but he just wants to be a sushi chef. In this world, there are too many who consider themselves smart, but how many are foolishly dedicated to their principles like Jiro Ono? Everyone wants quick profits and tries to find shortcuts, forgetting that moving too fast can lead to a fall. 35. A little ignorance is better than too much intelligence. There was an exceptional student who, 1 year after graduating from college, had already changed jobs 6 times. Every few months, his friends would hear that he was trying out a new company because he found the previous job too boring and unchallenging, fearing that he might miss out on future growth opportunities. A close friend advised him to slowly accumulate work experience, but he didn't listen and even scorned his friend, saying, "Stupid, taking it slow like you is just a waste of time." As time went on, he continued to search for his dream job, but to no avail. Gradually, he realized that his peers had gained significant experience in their jobs, while he was still at square one. While others became proficient and professional, handling every issue with ease, he was still struggling with numerous new employee training programs everywhere. People who consider themselves intelligent but lack experience often forget that sustainable development is more important than rapid growth. Don't let your intelligence be your downfall. 36. Eat slowly, go far, walk slowly, go far. Some people believe that in today's society, filled with traps and fierce competition for every little thing, ignorance only causes you to lose your ability to survive and protect yourself. If you don't learn to be smart, sooner or later you'll just become a stepping stone for someone else's success. Everyone uses all their IQ resources in fierce competition. Some achieve quick success and are happy, but soon fall. Those who aren't necessarily smart but are diligent and advance step by step often end up having the last laugh. When working at Tencent, the creator of WeChat, Zhang Xiaolong, was mainly responsible for managing QQ Mail, a Chinese messaging software. He required every product manager to collect 1,000 user feedback responses and conduct at least 10 large-scale surveys each month to find ways to improve service quality. Zhang Xiaolong and the WeChat app faced many objections because people thought he could simply learn from changes in similar apps, rather than wasting manpower on this. Zhang Xiaolong replied, "It's not about design, it's about solving problems." QQ Mail didn't need a unique design style but needed to clearly understand customer preferences to maximize user convenience. Only then could QQ rise to become a national leader in just 4 years. Later, Zhang Xiaolong launched WeChat, an app now used by over 1 billion people and worth millions of billions of VND. Each ad on the app could earn millions of RMB, but he never turned WeChat into an advertising tool. A product meant to last must not be eager for profit. Some thought his approach was foolish, but for Zhang Xiaolong, the foolish path was to offer a user service from a business perspective instead of from the user's perspective. When smart people look at a problem, they see many different paths and want to choose the shortest one. But when difficulties arise, they quickly turn around to find another path. Meanwhile, the so-called foolish people just keep going persistently, overcoming each challenge step by step. In the end, who is the wisest is determined by each person's journey of growth.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
37. 10 Principles to Understand the Wealth Gap Before Age 35. Losing sight of your goals is like losing your way, so it's crucial to know who you are and what you're aiming for. Your life, whether rich or poor, thriving or just a blur in the crowd, stems from your attitude. If you follow these 10 pieces of advice, you're likely to have a stable career and a promising future. 1. Set your own goals. 19th century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "Losing sight of your goals is like losing your way." So, define clearly who you are and what your goals are. Strive to improve yourself constantly. Don't settle for just getting by. Aim for real achievements, not just ordinary praise from others. Embrace change to progress. This will make others see you as a serious and purpose-driven individual. T.S. Eliot, an American poet, once said, "Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go." Similarly, author Washington Irving wrote, "Great minds have purposes. Others have wishes." 2. Trust in yourself. Your self-image reflects what others trust in you based on your abilities. Believe in your capabilities. Understand that every problem has a solution. Be someone who trusts in themselves. Don't wait for others to solve things for you. Pushing yourself will lead to more progress than just competing with others. Stay motivated. Be passionate about the bright future ahead. Start things on your own and be prepared for future challenges. Don't be distracted by fears of criticism, rejection, or failure. Military and TV star Chuck Norris said, "Always remember that your success starts from within. If you can't see it, nobody else will." 3. Prioritize. Identify what is most useful to you and focus on accomplishing it. Be an effective time manager. Balance physical, mental, and spiritual activities. Don't automatically agree with everyone or everything. As the Portuguese say, many plans, little execution. 4. Understand and be patient. Working means eliminating frustrations, anger, impatience, selfishness, ignorance, laziness, envy, hatred, and negative thoughts. It frees you from personal biases. Respect others' rights. Avoid conflicts and don't waste time feeling superior. Working builds mutual understanding and respect. William Jennings Bryan, a three-time presidential candidate and orator, once said, "Never be afraid to stand with the minority when the minority is right, because one day the minority will be the majority. But fear standing with the majority when the majority is wrong, as one day the majority will become the minority." 5. Maintain a positive attitude. Know that you can create a bright future for yourself. Take pride in even small changes as they ultimately lead to great successes. Realistically, accept life's annoyances and troubles, but choose to resolve them positively. Control your reactions. Trust your instincts. Although there are no guarantees, pursue what you desire. Enjoy life, learn from books, movies, and trust in yourself. Don't let doubts destroy your dreams. Gandhi taught, "If I believe I cannot do something, it makes me incapable of doing it. But when I believe I can, then I acquire the ability to do it even if I didn't have it in the beginning." Playwright George Bernard Shaw said, "A reasonable person adapts themselves to the world. An unreasonable person persists in trying to adapt the world to themselves. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable person." 6. Always be curious. An African proverb says, "Not to know is bad, not to wish to know is worse." You can learn anything you want. Seek advice and listen to it. Be interested in everything and eager to learn more. Think broadly, as life becomes a wonderful exploration. You'll find new opportunities for learning everywhere through classes, discussions, presentations, websites, books, videos, and magazines. A clever mind can overcome a strong one, so keep asking questions. Don't be afraid of the truth or to admit, "I don't know." 19th century British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli emphasized, "A fool wonders, a wise man asks." 7. Seek support from others. Walt Disney said, "All you need is to be honest about your ignorance and you'll find people eager to fill your head." By helping others, don't become too proud, as you'll need their help too. Be strong as if you were alone, and you'll realize you're not. Being kind makes many love and help you and seek your company. If you are a believer, place your trust in God. American statesman Benjamin Franklin emphasized, "He that is taught only by himself has a fool for a master." 8. Acknowledge your fears and weaknesses. No one is perfect and without fears. Be strict with yourself. Accept and confront your flaws. This means you've already overcome half of them. Face your fears. This builds character. Don't hesitate to say, "I'm sorry, I was wrong." T.S. Eliot noted, "Half the harm that is done in this world is due to people who want to feel important." 9. Learn from your mistakes. The difference between successful people and others is not whether they make mistakes, but how they handle them. It's a big mistake to think you're above errors. Understand what went wrong and what you can do differently. Set new strategies and plans and try again. Remember your past successes and overcome your mistakes. Winston Churchill confessed, "I am always ready to learn, although I do not always like being taught." 10. Strive for higher standards. Identify your strengths and aim to achieve your best. Take pride in your integrity, honesty, and fairness. Remember, lying leads to more lies. Commit to doing your best, benefiting those you meet and work with. Uphold your personal principles and standards. American author Helen Keller, despite being blind and deaf, inspiringly said, "Many have a wrong idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attained through self-gratification but through fidelity to a worthy purpose." 38. To achieve great things, start by speaking well. Language reflects each person's awareness and thought process, so if you want respect from others, first learn to control your words. In public places like streets and buses, we often hear people using crude and unpleasant language. To show whether someone is well educated, it's important to pay attention to the following 6 points. 1. Avoid discussing personal secrets of others. Talking carefully can be challenging, but causing trouble for yourself is easy. Smart people always speak cautiously. Discussing someone's private matters can lead them to worry about their secrets being exposed. Therefore, it's best not to mention others' secrets. 2. Refrain from pointing out hidden agendas. If someone is acting with a hidden agenda and trying to keep it secret, it's difficult for you to deal with if you know about it. The best strategy might be to act as if you don't know anything to avoid any suspicion or jealousy. 3. Keep others' secrets confidential. If you're privy to someone's plans or secrets, keeping them confidential is crucial. Accidentally revealing them can damage your relationship and trust. 4. Avoid random opinions. If people don't know you well and don't trust you, trying too hard to be agreeable can backfire. It's better not to give opinions that could be misinterpreted as manipulation or deceit. 5. Don't highlight others' mistakes publicly. Pointing out someone's mistakes, especially if they're sensitive about them, can lead to embarrassment and resentment. It's usually better to be gentle and tactful in your advice. 6. Don't force others to do what they dislike or cannot do. Pressuring someone to perform tasks they dislike or are incapable of is unfair and can damage relationships. Instead, advise and let them decide for themselves whether to act on it. In essence, it's best to guide others gently and allow them to come to their own decisions rather than forcing your opinions on them. This approach minimizes conflict and preserves relationships. 39. The birdcage effect. Psychologist James and physicist Carlson were good friends. One day, James told Carlson, "I'm going to make you keep a bird." Carlson listened but didn't think much of it at the time. Within a few days, James gifted Carlson a beautiful, elaborate birdcage as a present. Soon after, Carlson noticed something strange. Whenever friends visited his house and saw the birdcage, they almost always asked him where the bird was. At first, Carlson would repeatedly explain to his friends that he never had a bird and that the cage was just a gift. However, his friends kept asking similar questions, which annoyed him. Finally, one day, Carlson went to a pet store, bought a bird, and put it in the cage. This is known as the birdcage effect. The birdcage effect describes how people, when they randomly acquire something they didn't initially need, might end up buying more unnecessary things either to avoid waste or for other reasons, intentionally or subconsciously. The psychological impact of the birdcage effect can influence our behavior. We can use this to develop good habits for ourselves. For example, to cultivate a reading habit, buy a book and place it where it's highly visible. Eventually, people will frequently ask you, "Have you read that book?" or "Is it any good?" One day, you'll likely sit down and start reading it. 40. Understanding the JIDELIM law in problem solving. There's a well-known principle in management science called the JIDELIM law. A problem can only be solved effectively once it's identified. There's a famous story in America about a day when Steinmetz was asked by Ford to fix an electric engine. The engine failure had halted the entire car production line, and despite many engineers trying, none could fix it. Steinmetz carefully examined the engine for a while. Then he marked a spot and said, "It's missing a coil here." After the coil was replaced, the engine started working again. The manager, delighted, asked him how much the repair would cost, and Steinmetz replied, $10,000. Over 100 years ago, top engineers at Ford were only paid $5 a month. Seeing the manager's confused face, Steinmetz explained with a note, $1 for drawing the mark, $9,999 for knowing where to draw it. Later, not only did Ford agree to the fee, but he also hired Steinmetz at a high salary. In fact, every engineer knew the engine needed 20 coils, but only Steinmetz knew one was missing. Often, when we see someone solving a problem easily, we might think, I could do that too. But why aren't you the one receiving the accolades? Albert Einstein provided the answer. Solving problems might just involve some algorithms or experience, but identifying new problems is much more difficult and important. Truly intelligent people aren't necessarily the first to act, but are the quickest to identify the problem. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 41. The Falkland Rule. Wait and seize the opportunity. French economist Falkland once shared, "When you're unsure about what action to take, it's best to stand still and not make any decisions, because you won't know if what follows is an opportunity or a trap." In 1973, an economic crisis erupted, causing consumer spending to stagnate. During this time, many Thai brands reduced production and lowered prices. Many speculated that Gold Lion, a well-known men's fashion brand, would follow suit, but there was no movement from them. While everyone was anxious, the founder of the brand did not make any changes. Instead, he quietly observed. He noticed that to control costs, designs and colors were also reduced, and the number of stalls decreased. Therefore, he took this opportunity to rent a stall at a lower price and produced a more diverse range of designs. When the economy recovered, Gold Lion quickly gained a competitive edge in the market. Sociologist Andy J. Sclavis once said, "Just be patient and wait. The windmill never goes searching for the wind." Life is like a windmill, and the wind is your asset. The wisdom of smart people often lies in their ability to wait and seize the right moment. 42. Making a good first impression. The first impression, also known as the initial effect, is crucial. If someone makes a good impression during their first interaction, others are more likely to engage with them, and the goodwill created by that first impression can positively influence future interactions. Although this effect is widely known and often discussed, it encompasses a rich variety of psychological principles. This is because we all are accustomed to categorizing and organizing the people and objects we encounter. Simply put, we label them. When we receive information, a cognitive framework forms in our minds. Subsequent information is integrated into this framework, making it difficult to change. Understanding the power of first impressions is vital in human interactions. By mastering it, you can establish positive social relationships in both your career and personal life. 43. The law of listening more. A philosopher once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen more and talk less." There is a story about a small country that sent 3 golden statues to the Emperor of China. These statues looked very similar in appearance and weight and came with a message. One of these is the most valuable. So, which one was the most valuable? Many court officials were stumped until an old sage stepped forward. He placed a thread in the ears of each statue. In the first statue, the thread came out the other ear. In the second, the thread came out of the mouth. In the third, the thread dropped down to the stomach. The sage declared the third statue the most valuable. These 3 statues represent 3 types of people in the world. The first type hears something in one ear and it goes out the other. They really don't know how to listen. The second type speaks whatever they hear without thinking, and talking a lot often proves useless. The third type knows how to listen, and also how to keep what they hear to themselves, understanding much but saying little, showing restraint. 44. Smart people use the 7 to 3 inches rule in social interactions. In dealing with others, it's wise to keep important secrets hidden and not let others know. Whether you're pursuing something, enjoying a meal, or seeking happiness, moderation is key. By applying the 7 to 3 inches rule, you act on 70% of your intentions and keep 30% as a safety margin, which helps maintain long-term stability. Smart people know how to apply this rule in 5 key areas. 1. Interacting with people. Be 70% genuine and keep a 30% guard up. Life, especially at work, involves interacting with others. How to relate to friends or strangers is a constant consideration. Some people believe that being completely sincere in any relationship is enough, but such absolute sincerity can backfire if the other person is not honorable. To manage relationships wisely, one should be moderately open, sharing 70% of their true feelings while keeping 30% reserved to protect themselves. If you're even more cautious, having 30% sincerity and 70% guardedness is also reasonable. After all, you can't expose your whole heart to others, nor should you always wear it on your sleeve. Protecting yourself without harming others is always the right approach. 2. Speaking. Share 70% of the truth and keep 30% to yourself. In interactions, it's essential to keep some secrets to yourself, including certain personal past events. While some may argue that true friends or lovers should share everything, one should ask themselves if they've really shared all their deepest secrets. People often speak too much and make mistakes. The more you say, the more likely you are to offend others and harm yourself. In such cases, remaining silent is often the wisest course of action. 3. Stepping outside. Maintain 70% calmness and 30% mystery. A person who behaves mysteriously without drawing attention often avoids unnecessary conflicts and problems. Conversely, someone who is an open book and reveals their vulnerabilities might seem gentle but can become an easy target for manipulation. Mystery is a quality everyone possesses. The more skilled a person is, the better they apply this principle, as they naturally prefer to keep things under wraps to protect themselves. 4. Maintaining health. 70% exercise, 30% rest. Modern life emphasizes quality and longevity, so people exercise daily. However, the notion that high-intensity exercise alone can achieve ideal health is mistaken. Balance is crucial in everything, including how we treat our bodies. Too much or too little of anything can be harmful. Work hard and exercise regularly, but also make sure to de-stress. Neglecting this balance can lead to mental and physical burnout. 5. Handling life. Give 70% effort, take 30% easy. Everything is a matter of time and fate. We can only start cautiously and try to end as well as possible. As long as you do your part, the rest should be taken easy with whatever outcome occurs. We ordinary people can control our efforts, but almost never the outcomes. If you give, you may not receive. If you work hard, you may not get the deserved reward. Thus, adjusting your attitude to accept things as they come is better for your well-being than forcing a desired outcome. We can only control 70% of our actions. Let time answer the rest. Just like earning money, no one can guarantee wealth. We can only promise to do our best without leaving room for regret. This is the essence of going with the flow. 45. Happy people don't get involved in these 10 silly things. Nobody can go back and start over, but everyone can start now and create a new future. Before you can make this change in your life, you must let go of the things that are holding you back and are meaningless. 1. Don't waste time on the wrong people. Life is too short, so you shouldn't spend your precious years with people who try to stifle your happiness. If others really need you, they will make room for you. Sometimes letting go is also an option. Never give hope to someone who constantly looks down on you. Remember, true friends are always there when you need them most. Those who only show up when you're wealthy and at the peak of success may not be true friends. 2. Don't avoid problems, face them and overcome them. Honestly, this isn't easy at all. No one in the world can easily solve every difficult situation. Everyone goes through disappointment, sadness, pain, and frustration over and over before they can solve a problem. So, we shouldn't rush for results, but address problems step by step. Life is about facing difficulties and patiently learning, adapting, and solving them. All these experiences ultimately shape who you are today. 3. Don't deceive yourself. You can fool the world, but the one person you must not deceive is yourself. Only by seizing opportunities can we improve our lives. And the first step is to be honest with yourself. 4. Don't ignore your own needs. The most painful thing is loving someone so much that you forget you also need to be loved in return. Helping others is important, but you also need to help yourself. If you've never pursued your passion to do what you really care about, now is the time to start. 5. Don't fantasize about being someone you're not. One of life's challenges is burying your true self and longing to be someone else, a version that isn't really you. There will always be people more beautiful, smarter, and younger than you, but they aren't you. Don't be someone else. Be yourself and people will genuinely accept you. 6. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Be brave and try. Even if you make mistakes, it's better than doing nothing at all. Every success goes through the test of failure, and every failure brings you closer to your ultimate goal. Remember, what you regret isn't what you've done, but what you've never tried. 7. Don't blame yourself for past mistakes. We might love the wrong person, cry over things that weren't worth it, but one thing is for sure, mistakes help us find the right people and do better next time. Everyone makes mistakes in life, and we all have painful and regretful experiences from the past. However, you can't define yourself by the mistakes you've made or the pain you've endured. You live in this moment, and you also have the ability to change today. You must be different and still have the ability to create a better future. Everything you experience in life anticipates a future moment. 8. Don't seek happiness from others. There are many things we desire, and they are often expensive. But the things that truly satisfy us are free: love, laughter, and pursuing passions. If you're not satisfied with yourself, you won't be happy in the long run no matter how much wealth and love you possess. 9. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't worry about others doing better than you. All you need to do is improve day by day and constantly surpass yourself. Success is a battle between you and yourself, not with anyone else. Envy is actually measuring the joy of others while ignoring your own happiness. 10. Don't underestimate the beauty of small details. Cherish the little things because one day when you look back on your life, you'll see they were incredibly important. The best parts of your life are made up of little pieces, like a smile you give to someone. 46. Avoid sharing these 3 things to reduce life's troubles. 1. Social relationships. There's a saying in China, at home rely on your parents, outside rely on your friends. Many people try to connect with everyone, especially celebrities. They often brag about having a celebrity's phone number or taking pictures with them. CCTV editor Chung Kong once claimed to be friends with famous politicians like U.S. President Bill Clinton and former Japanese Prime Minister Naoto Kan. This led to a joke on social media that the World Economic Forum was just a reunion for Chung Kong and his friends. In 2015, Chung faced a prison sentence, and none of his close friends cared. His story ended tragically. Relationships are about mutual benefit. Dale Carnegie said, "One of life's most important lessons is to make others respect you by leveraging your strengths. Don't expect to fool others without showing real capabilities." 2. Personal bragging. Uncle Hai got a promotion but received no congratulations from co-workers. He always boasted about his achievements, which eventually alienated him. At a dinner, an experienced friend advised him not to brag about his promotion. Uncle Hai realized that his arrogance was causing resentment. He then started listening more and praising others, which improved his relationships. A wise saying goes, "If you want enemies, show off your superiority. If you want friends, let others be superior." 3. Personal abilities. At a writer's meeting, a well-dressed author wanted to be the center of attention, boasting about his novels. He approached a modestly dressed middle-aged woman who was actually Margaret Mitchell, author of the classic Gone with the Wind. When he realized who she was, he was embarrassed by his earlier arrogance. How to recognize an intelligent person. They understand and respect your views and beliefs, making you feel comfortable around them. Yet, they maintain a respectful distance. It's said, lack of humility is a lack of wisdom. Even the most talented people are just humans with strengths and weaknesses. A truly strong person is talented but humble and respects others. Let's cultivate humility and other virtues within ourselves.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
47. The Prodigy of the Three Kingdoms. In Chinese history, Liu Bei, Sun Quan, and Cao Cao were the three major forces that shaped the era known as the Three Kingdoms. Cao Cao, a strong leader, knew that to conquer the realm, he needed to gather many talented individuals to support him. Famous for his ability to recognize and utilize talent, Cao Cao's ranks included top generals and strategists like Xun Yu, Guojia, Jia Shu, Dian Wei, and Xu Chu. However, historical records mention a prodigy whom Cao Cao greatly admired. Initially, Cao Cao wanted to recruit this person and tried to entice him, but later he shockingly attempted to assassinate this talented individual. This prodigy was Chu Bat Yingyi, a nephew of Liu Xian, who served under Liu Biao. Chu Bat Yingyi, also known as Yuan Jai from Lingling, later part of Hunan, grew up in a distinguished family and showed exceptional intelligence from a young age. Later, he was entrusted to the scholar Liu Ba, a man of such talent that even the famous Zhuge Liang felt inferior. According to the Stories of the Sages of Lingling, Liu Ba soon admitted that he wasn't capable enough to teach Chu Bat Yi. In 208, when Liu Biao died, Cao Cao, after taking over Jing province, took in Liu Xian and Chu Bat Yi. Chu's rare talents quickly caught Cao Cao's attention. When Cao Cao was stuck during his attack on Xiangyang, Chu Bat Yingyi, then 14, proposed 10 strategies that immediately helped overcome the difficulties. Following this, Cao Cao thought of binding Chu Bat Yi to him through marriage by offering his daughter's hand, but Chu directly refused. Despite being upset, Cao Cao still hoped Chu Bat Yingyi would become a close ally of his son, Cao Chong. The two shared a great friendship. However, Chu Bat Yingyi's fate turned precarious when Cao Chong suddenly died in 208. Cao Chong's death deeply saddened Cao Cao, who had secretly hoped his son would succeed him. At this point, Chubat Ngi became a thorn in the eye for Cao Cao. Cao believed that an intelligent son like his could have controlled Chu, but unfortunately, Cao Chong died young. Thus, Cao planned to eliminate Chu. Cao Pi, aware of the plot, tried to stop his father. Cao Pi felt that Chubat Ngi was very smart and capable and would be a valuable right-hand man in the future, so he tried to intervene. However, Cao Cao simply said, "This man is not someone you can control." Chubat Ngi was talented, but only a rare genius like Cao Chong could have managed him. Cao Pi, though skilled, was far less intelligent and capable than Cao Chong. Therefore, Cao Cao decided that the only way to secure Cao Pi's succession was to remove this uncontrollable prodigy. After his father's rebuke, Cao Pi finally understood his father's intentions and recognized the danger Chubat Ngi posed, and thus he stopped pleading. In 209, Cao Cao had Chubat Ngi assassinated, marking a tragic end for the young prodigy of the Three Kingdoms era. 48. 3 valuable ways to live for a relaxed second half of life. As people reach middle age, every day seems to revolve around spending money. Earning money becomes a continuous task and a duty. Many middle-aged individuals are so busy that they end up sacrificing both their health and time. Some people say it's better to live a life worth living than to be consumed by making money. Indeed, if you look at the most valuable aspects of a middle-aged person's life, they are as follows. 1. Value health. Keep your body capable of creating worth. Arthur Schopenhauer, a German idealist philosopher, once said, "The biggest mistake a man can make is to sacrifice his health for external things." Some say having health doesn't mean you have everything, but losing health means losing everything. True. As life pressures mount in middle age, many people unknowingly wear down their bodies. By the time they collapse, it's too late, and a single hospital day can wipe out months of hard work. As the saying goes, maintaining health isn't hard or time-consuming, it's just a lifestyle change. In youth, we might think working hard to earn money is building wealth, but as people age, they realize that maintaining health is the real wealth. There are no ifs in life, only consequences and results. If you're still exhausting your body to make money in your later years, it's time to wake up and adjust your lifestyle. This is also a way to love yourself in middle age. 2. Maintain relationships. Help your family thrive. In middle age, fatigue becomes common. After work, there's family to take care of. Many people gradually drift away from relationships and family without realizing it. Managing a family is like running a business. You need the right goals and a sincere attitude. Our ancestors weren't wrong when they said, "The biggest mistake we make every day is being too polite to strangers and too harsh with our loved ones." In the outside world, many succeed in their careers but fail at home. Running a marriage is never easier than running a business. Understanding, tolerance for the trivial, and more communication to resolve issues are essential for harmony at home. In life, not everything is about right or wrong. Ultimately, home is where we talk about love, and if we get too caught up in details and blaming each other, it only drives hearts apart. 3. Manage emotions. Keep an open heart. On Jihu, someone asked, "What is the ideal state of mind for middle age?" A popular answer was, the best state for middle-aged people is to prioritize mental attitude and put emotion second. Kazuo Inamori, a Japanese business and philosophy guru, said in The Way of Living that everything in life is attracted by the magnet in your heart, including illness. Thus, you and longevity are only separated by a healthy mindset. The most important thing for middle-aged individuals is to learn to love themselves well. Age is never a barrier, and middle age doesn't mean a decline. Nurturing a healthy body, managing a happy and harmonious family, and maintaining a calm state of mind are the greatest wealth in the second half of life. 49. The Three Fish Theory. Yu Minhong, a well-known educator in China, once shared a story in an article about his youth living by the Yangtze River. He used to watch fishermen cast their nets to catch fish, and noticed that even though the nets were large, they still caught 3 types of small-sized fish. He wondered why these fish got trapped even though they could easily slip through the net. After asking around, he learned these fish were known as crucian carp, Chinese anchovy, and pufferfish. The first fish, the crucian carp, has a small head and a larger body. As it tries to pass through the net, its scales get caught. In reality, it could free itself by just moving back a bit, but it doesn't because it fears the pain of losing its scales and thus gets caught. The second fish, the Chinese anchovy, can easily maneuver through tight spaces, and the net should not be able to catch it. However, when it feels threatened, it panics and inadvertently gets tangled in the net. The third type, the pufferfish, is known for its strong will and gets irritable easily. When trapped in the net and unable to swim, it inflates its stomach in anger, becomes rounded and floats to the surface, making it easy for fishermen passing by to catch it. It turns out, what truly kills these fish is not their size, but their habits. As Yu Minhong points out, humans are much like these 3 types of fish, often doomed by their own habitual ways of thinking. Only by adjusting our mindset can we gain an advantage in our initial reaction to problems. Proper thinking in handling situations allows us to resolve difficulties more easily. 1. Crucian carp thinking. In the history of Italian literature, there was a young poet named Felice Cavarati. Cavarati was a talented writer whose poems were published in many local publications and received much praise. As his skills matured, he felt confident enough to submit his works to Italy's leading publisher, La Venezia. He carefully selected a few favorite poems to send, but they were all rejected by Marcola, the editor-in-chief at La Venezia, who suggested some changes before publication. His friends advised him to revise his work, noting that being published by La Venezia would be greatly beneficial for his career. However, Cavarati, who was quite proud, saw this as an insult and refused to compromise. He immediately responded to Marcola with a confrontational letter. As a result, Cavarati, a promising poet, lost a significant opportunity over something trivial. Doesn't Cavarati resemble the crucian carp? When faced with discomfort, they never yield even a little, and in the end, they have no choice but to be caught. The wise say that knowing when to step back at the right moment is the mark of intelligence. When faced with intractable difficulties, stepping back to wait for a new opportunity is a smart way to resolve issues. Being flexible in life means advancing when necessary to seize good opportunities, but also retreating at the right moment to avoid extremes. It's foolish to charge forward when you know the situation is hopeless. Sometimes, yielding is not cowardice, but wisdom. When the path ahead is blocked, stepping back can often lead you to a new turn. 2. Chinese anchovy thinking. A writer once said, "Living happily is not about forgetting the troubles in front of you by running away, but by facing problems head-on and fighting through them." A person who withdraws at the slightest sign of danger is like a Chinese anchovy. Even with an advantage, they push themselves into more dangerous situations. Psychologist Li Songwei shared a true case. Wang, a doctoral student, was delayed in graduating by 2 years due to issues with his thesis. Each time he sat at his computer, he was paralyzed by fear thinking about his thesis problems. To escape the pain of reality, he began spending hours playing computer games every day. Unexpectedly, 6 months later, he developed severe mental health issues. After learning of Wang's condition, Lee Songwei didn't prescribe medication, but advised him, "Do what you need to do." Encouraged by the doctor, Wang began to grit his teeth, open his manuscript, and revise each word and section. More than 2 months later, he made a significant breakthrough in his research, and the psychological issues that had tormented him for months disappeared. I once read a saying, "Intentionally avoiding what you fear in the end, you'll realize you're just taking a shortcut to face it." When facing difficulties, instead of running away, it's better to swim against the current, confront the troubles, and resolve them as they arise. When Kazuo Inamori graduated from college, he joined a company on the brink of bankruptcy. The company was performing poorly, so he lived in a small dormitory with a cracked floor and full of fleas. Faced with a new research topic, his colleagues in the product development research department were lazy and had no intention of working. Inamori also considered quitting his job and wrote home about his plans to apply to the Navy. However, after his brother learned of this, instead of consoling him, his brother sternly scolded him. Facing problems without solving them, do you hope to accomplish what you want elsewhere? Inamori immediately came to his senses and entered the laboratory. He began researching from early morning to late night, and no matter how hard or tired he was, he never complained. Eventually, he quickly developed a new type of ceramic material and saved the company, while also being promoted to director of R&D. In real life, each of us will face 1 or 2 people and 2 or 3 situations that we cannot avoid no matter how much we might want to. Writer Ayn Rand believes that you can avoid reality, but you cannot escape the consequences of avoiding it. So, when things get tense and there's nowhere left to hide, face them head on. When you are no longer afraid and no longer want to avoid, the problem is already half solved. 3. Pufferfish thinking. Liang Qiushi once said, "When angry, reason becomes unclear, and words and actions tend to exceed limits, becoming inappropriate for others and oneself." You see, pufferfish are like that. When something happens, they get angry and inflate to the point of floating on the water without even realizing it, ultimately bringing disaster upon themselves. This reminds me of a story about the writer Li Xiaoyi. When she was young, she worked in advertising. Once, to plan for a client, Li Xiaoyi stayed up many nights trying to perfect the plan. After the client reviewed the plan, they glanced at it and simply said, "Redo it." Faced with the client's pickiness, she became angry. "Your requirements are completely unreasonable, and you are extremely unreasonable. Don't think that just because you're the client, you can do whatever you want. I'm not doing it anymore." The next day, her boss called her to the office and scolded her. After the incident became known, Li Xiaoyi's initial clients requested a replacement, and she directly fell into a career abyss. Author Huffland said, "Among all the negative influences in the world, the most devastating is often uncontrolled anger. When a person is in a rage, their IQ is effectively 0. They are controlled by their anger, and ultimately, they themselves suffer the consequences. Only by controlling a hot temper and handling everything calmly can you effectively resolve conflicts and complete tasks." When Charlie Munger was younger, he once had to fly to another location to discuss a cooperation with a client. But as he passed through the airport security check, he was stopped because the detector beeped. Munger had to go through security again, but after trying 4 times, the detector still beeped. Seeing he was about to miss his flight, his assistant became very angry, grabbed the luggage, and tried to rush through. But Munger held on to his secretary and smiled at the staff. "Okay, I'll try again." More than 10 minutes later, the staff realized the detector was malfunctioning. By then, Munger's flight had taken off, and it was too late to book the next one. Despite the tight schedule, he remained patient and friendly in talking to the staff. The staff felt very apologetic and quickly helped Munger book the nearest flight through an internal channel. In the end, he reached his destination and successfully secured the cooperation with the client. Fools are those who are hot-tempered. Wise people control their anger. Foolish people speak rashly when facing problems, while wise people manage their emotions before addressing the issue. Everything in the world is complex, and if you are overwhelmed by emotions, you will find yourself in chaos. Learning to control your anger when things happen, being able to stabilize your emotions, allows you to master the situation. Sociologist Festinger said, 10% of life is made up of what happens to you, and 90% is determined by how you react to what happens. Often, what holds you back is not a lack of ability, but the wrong mindset. The moment you remain calm in the face of difficulties, knowing when to advance and when to retreat without avoiding the issue, there will be no obstacles that can stop you. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 50. Harvesting Success. Life Lessons from the Farmer's Field. Learn from farmers who regularly remove weeds. Just like different plants need different types of soil, people do too. Only when you find the right place can you truly reach your full potential. Farming in spring and harvesting in fall isn't just about agriculture. It reflects a pathway to success in life. A professor once said, "Farmers are some of the smartest people, and farming is the best way to restore one's intellect." Farming, like life, requires attention to climate, finding the right soil, nurturing carefully, and waiting before reaping the rewards. To achieve something in life, you also need to find your niche, avoid distractions, invest continually, wait, and then you can see the flowers bloom. If you want to be a real winner in life, think like a farmer. 1. Find your field. Just like different crops need different soils, people are similar. Only when you find the right spot can you truly excel. Famous chef Julia Child loved writing from a young age and dreamed of becoming a writer. After college, her first job was writing ads for a furniture store, but she soon found she didn't enjoy it. World War II began, and she joined the U.S. Office of Strategic Services, though her cheerful nature wasn't suited to the mundane, strict work there. After the war, Julia moved to Paris with her husband. An excellent meal at a restaurant sparked her interest in cooking. She began culinary school and found her true passion. Back in the U.S., she promoted the dishes she learned, influencing many and becoming the first culinary star on a TV show and a best-selling author. A writer once said, "A person's value depends on their ability to find their place." Everyone has unique strengths that are best utilized in the right environment. 2. Never stop trying. We know that crops don't just need sunlight, but also regular watering, fertilizing, and other efforts. If you plant seeds and neglect them, you likely won't see a harvest. A good life also requires continuous effort and careful management. One internet user shared their experience working energetically at a good company post-college, but gradually lost their drive, leading to eventual job loss. They learned the hard way to never be lazy and always keep learning. A writer noted, "A person's fate is decided by their past and present actions." Today's efforts determine tomorrow's outcomes. Laziness leads nowhere. 3. Regularly remove weeds. Weeding is crucial in farming. Like nutrients in the soil, if you take on too much at once, you'll lose focus and not perform well. Focus on what's most important to enable a bumper harvest season. Productivity expert Bosch Tracy said, People who do well by focusing on one task at a time perform much better than those trying to excel in multiple areas simultaneously. 4. Wait for your growth phase. Plant in spring and harvest in fall. This is the law of nature and a philosophy for life. What you put in, you get out. Don't rush success. Be patient and enjoy the harvest when it comes. A poet said, "Your job is to prepare the ground, not to worry about time. What you do in March and April gives you the results in August and September." Just follow your own pace. Take steps consistently, and you will see results. Life is like plowing. A step back today is a step toward success tomorrow. Life, like farming, depends on the effort you put in. Even the richest soil, if neglected, becomes barren. The poorest, if well tended, blooms beautifully. 51. Quiet happiness, humble success. Be joyful, but not overly so. Be successful, but not arrogant. Be happy, but don't show off. This is how wise people live. Chinese author Yang Zhang believed, "Don't boast about your happiness or flaunt your wealth and successes. True wisdom is in keeping it private. What is shown is often lost. What is hidden is preserved." It's often said that few people wish you well, but many are envious of your good life. It's not wrong to share your happiness, but it should be done within limits to avoid problems. Sometimes, it's enough to be happy by yourself without telling others about it. Learn to keep to yourself, hide your skills, and not boast about trivial things. Life has its ups and downs. As long as you know your own path, that's all that matters. How to be joyful and happy is up to your own efforts and choices. Others are just passers-by. There's no need to worry too much. If you share your joy with the wrong person, it can become a problem and waste your time. If you share your sorrows with the wrong person, they might take it as a joke. Happiness is feeling joy within yourself. Forcing it makes it meaningless. Keep your experiences with the world fresh and be true to yourself. That's the way to truly enjoy happiness. Capture every happy moment with a simple heart, which is very different from showing off to others. Happiness nourishes your heart, not the eyes of the world. Indeed, successful people seldom brag. If they do, it often involves a long-term strategy, like sacrificing a small fish to catch a big one. Experience teaches that modesty is the greatest form of boasting. Believe that if you are truly outstanding, you don't need to show off or prove it with words. Others will naturally respect you. Bragging only brings temporary joy, but it can lead to envy, conflict, and even hurt others. A common scenario is this. After a year of hard work, you return home for the holidays and boast to relatives and neighbors about your vast wealth and talents. This might make you proud and honor your family, but it can unintentionally hurt others. Perhaps a young person from your neighborhood who has also been working away from home feels inferior because they are not as successful. Or neighbors may resent that you are more successful than their own children, leading to jealousy and spiteful gossip. In reality, everyone has their own way of living, and it's not for anyone to judge. But if you lower your ego a bit and consider others, life becomes much easier. Wise people know to hold back and enjoy life quietly, doing what they like. Those who seek vain glory by boasting everywhere might not realize that this habit can distance them from happiness and wealth. Our ancestors taught, when the rice is ripe, it bows its head. The wise know to be patient. Be joyful but not overly so. Be successful but not arrogant. Be happy but don't show off. This is how wise people live. 52. Money and Meaning, a philosophical journey into wealth and values. The more you chase money, the more it seems to vanish. In today's busy world, money is like an invisible dance, drawing countless people into its endless cycle, from which they can't escape. However, Japanese billionaire Kazuo Inamori has shared a secret about money through the perspective of someone who has spent a lifetime in business. This is not just a unique view of money, but also a deep insight into life philosophy. In this bustling world, we often lose sight of the true values behind money. Money indeed serves as a tool, a necessary means that can help us solve problems. It comes as a response to what we sacrifice and give to others and society. Money only comes when we truly help others and solve their problems. As the 20th century Chinese writer Bing Xin said, "Love on the left, compassion on the right. I walk through life, sowing seeds as fate allows, and where they bloom, they decorate the path with fragrant flowers, making it a less painful journey for those who walk through." This isn't just a literary piece about love, but also an explanation of life's value. When we genuinely give and offer warmth to others, our life's path naturally fills with flowers, and their fragrance represents the essence of money. As you progress, understand this. If you want to become wealthy, first find a good job. Because behind every dollar is a job, and behind every job, a person. Only by being a good person can you excel at your job and achieve success. This includes how we interact with others and our attitude towards the world. These are the main factors that determine a person's fate. Bing Xin wrote in On Life, "Not every river flows to the sea. A stagnant flow becomes a dead lake. Not every seed becomes a tree. Without germination, it is merely a dead seed." In this world, miracles are rare, but peace is abundant. Yet we often fail to appreciate it. Therefore, cherish every opportunity to interact with others and learn to face the world with a loving heart. This will broaden the path of your life. We can look to Mr. Inamori's business life as an example. Throughout his career, he adhered to a management philosophy that emphasized human values, correct actions, and corporate character, with ethical standards and professionalism. His thoughts pioneered Japan's modernization process, based on the idea that the motivation of workers and companies should be pure intentions, not greed, and ultimately the desire to serve society. With his talent and compassion, he has led countless businesses and employees to success for decades, dominating the Japanese market and being dubbed a business king. Everyone loves money, but a true gentleman has his do's and don'ts when earning it. Money doesn't come from thin air. It requires effort and a bit of luck, opportunity. Hence, money can be seen as a blessing, something that we can only earn through kindness and giving value. If money is truly a mesmerizing dance, then dance in it with a serene heart and enjoy to the fullest. With your help and human warmth, you'll see that life is still full of miracles and love. On such a journey, we reap not only material rewards, but also fully experience the true meaning and beauty of life. 53. 4 little-known truths that could change how you see the world. If no one has ever shared these 4 social insights with you, you might find yourself at a disadvantage in the outside world. 1. Adult world is built on self-interest. Don't be fooled by the harmony at dinner parties. It's all just a show. Behind it lies a game of wits that you might never expect. Often, friends or acquaintances drift apart simply because they no longer share social circles or mutual benefits. Life is like a survival game. You either become strong or get left behind. This rule applies to marriages as well, which is why drifting apart in relationships is inevitable. 2. Great achievements come with the ability to endure solitude. Why is this said? As you grow older, you realize that everyone feels lonely. The only person you can truly rely on is yourself. If you don't strengthen yourself, pleasing hundreds of others won't help. Highly talented individuals who solve problems gracefully and speak politely but don't have many friends or join many groups aren't flawed. They're just clear about what they want. Their minds simply don't align with the majority, making deep connections with the crowd rare. Being lonely isn't about resenting the world. It's about being independent, intelligent, and selective. 3. Experience and knowledge are more valuable than formal education. If your child decides to drop out, don't just let them stay home. Give them some money to go out and gain experience, even if they stumble. Why? Because the real fear should not be lacking formal education, but inaction and staying idle at home all day, dependent on parents for basic needs. Success is hard to come by for those overly coddled by their parents. 4. You are you, and that has nothing to do with others. Many people are exhausted because they are afraid to be themselves and stand firm in society. Stay away from those who hurt you. What they say doesn't concern you, so why care? Many are easily influenced by others, from words to glances to actions. Remember, in every social class, those in the upper echelons genuinely respect others. The middle class often praise others, while the lower class might step on each other. In today's competitive society, even a phoenix reborn faces negative remarks and looks, but a phoenix remains a phoenix. Kings rule by using people wisely. Servants excel by handling their tasks well. Understanding human nature is the highest form of knowledge, a subject that the truly wise continuously refine to better understand themselves and perceive the world. Smart people surround themselves with the scent of books and see their job as a passion. Ordinary people, however, are preoccupied with daily worries. This portrait shows the difference between someone who understands human nature and societal mechanics and someone who doesn't. By truly understanding human nature, we can better navigate behavior patterns and thinking processes, allowing us to integrate more wisely into today's society. Whether it's relationships with customers, lovers, or relatives, good management comes from this understanding. I believe that a person who clearly understands human nature is well equipped to solve most problems in the world because both emotional and intellectual quotients rely on this fundamental understanding. Just as if human nature is a road, other skills like EQ and IQ are trees along that road. Above are 4 genuine facets of society, and I hope this information provides you with useful knowledge and a new perspective to achieve your own success.
If you like this video, please comment 1, and if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
54. 4 unusual rules the wealthy follow. I haven't always been great with money. Growing up, I had to learn how to make ends meet. I was raised in a family of Chinese immigrants. My parents were hardworking and extremely frugal. Clipping coupons and reusing Ziploc bags was totally normal for us. It wasn't until I started my career on Wall Street that I realized that the super wealthy care less about scrimping and saving and more about investing and growing their wealth. By observing and learning from their habits, I earned my first $1 million by the age of 27. Here are 4 unconventional rules that the rich follow, which most people don't. 1. Stop worrying about impressing others. Wealthy people spend their money on assets, things that make them money over time, rather than liabilities, things that cost them money over time. For example, instead of buying a flashy Lamborghini that loses 1/3 of its value the moment you drive it off the lot, a truly wealthy person would take that money and buy a duplex to rent out. They don't care what you think about them or whether you are impressed. Instead, they are happy that you are paying them rent. 2. Have a prosperity mindset. Many people have a scarcity mindset, always feeling like we will never have enough money that we need to save every penny. The problem with this thinking is that it can make people very competitive with others in similar financial situations. Instead of trying to overthrow those at the top, you end up scrambling for resources with those at the bottom. Wealthy people have a prosperity mindset. Since they know they can pay the bills, they aren't worried. This freedom allows them to choose what they want to do with their time, instead of just focusing on what they need to do to survive. 3. Think long-term. Wealthy people understand that sometimes things take time, and they are willing to wait. They are the kings and queens of delayed gratification. For example, a wealthy person doesn't mind locking their money up in a retirement account. The money they put into an IRA this year can't be touched until they are 59 and a half. But they know it's not that they can't spend that money now, it's just not gone. The longer they wait, the more they will get back later. 4. Share, exchange, and support each other. Wealthy people like to be known as the smartest in their friend group, the one with the best taste, the trendsetter. You'll often hear them say, "I have this great tax person. You should work with them." "I found this bar that serves the best cocktails. You must try their martini." "I joined the most fantastic country club, and I'll sponsor you to join too." They realize that when they are open about what they know, others tend to share more of what they know too. It's another form of currency, and that's why wealthy people like to elevate their close friends. Their thought process is, "I may not be qualified for this job, but my friend is, and once she's in that position, she'll be the most dependable person. Then, as soon as she's in a leadership role, I'll be part of that whole network too." Yes, they want to see their friends succeed, but it's also because they are thinking strategically and long-term, as they have the most trustworthy people collaborating with them. The author of the article is Vivian Tu, a former Wall Street trader, educator, podcast host, and founder of the financial equity phenomenon, Your Rich BFF. 55. Be more realistic, less idealistic. As we enter middle age, we find ourselves caring for elderly parents and young children needing education, along with increasing pressures from work and life. However, no matter how overwhelming these pressures may be, it's not feasible to constantly look for shortcuts and indulge in fantasies instead of taking practical actions. A netizen shared a story about their cousin. When he was younger, unlike most peers in his village who chose to work away from home, he thought differently. He believed it was hard for his family to live better on the small earnings from outside jobs, so he decided to start his own business. He had many plans to make a lot of money but was not ready to work seriously. 2 years later, as those who worked away returned to build houses, he still lived in a small, basic home. Sometimes, he didn't even have enough money to treat his sick child and had to borrow from his parents for medical visits. Despite such a life, he never reevaluated his situation and took his parents' help for granted. To build relationships, he would often take friends to dine at high-end restaurants, completely disregarding his own financial situation. At one point, farm tourism became extremely popular. Everyone was starting farms, and his wife suggested investing in it. However, he refused, finding the work dirty and tiring. He continued dining out with friends, thinking he could make a fortune through networking. Thus, he remained engulfed in his fantasies, day after day, year after year, ultimately achieving nothing, while other villagers, even those only farming, managed to buy homes in town through their own efforts. Being poor isn't scary, and moving slowly isn't a problem, but don't set goals too high and drown in illusions. After middle age, time becomes very precious. Only by maintaining a realistic mindset, setting goals, working hard, and continuously improving your attitude and knowledge can you achieve your dreams. 56. Stop lecturing others. Instead, be humble and tolerant of diverse opinions. A writer once said, As people reach middle age, they often become unintentional teachers. Even when they try to hold back, their conversations tend to steer towards past experiences that others may not have lived through, just to showcase their own expertise. After middle age, we have accumulated a fair amount of experience and grasped some truths, so we like to use our experiences to guide others. However, what we often forget is that our experiences may not be applicable to everyone. Respecting differences is the smarter way to communicate. When Tang Guoqian, a renowned Chinese scholar, first went to the capital to serve as an official, he worried about his siblings at home and often sent them instructive letters. When he found out his siblings were eager for careers, after hearing their concerns, Tang wrote back, "Success is determined by fate. In this world, no one with ambition fails to achieve. For now, focus on developing yourself and don't worry too much about the future." When his younger sibling failed an exam and complained, Tang didn't comfort him but instead lectured him based on his own experiences. Failing an exam is minor. If you can't handle this, what great things can you do later? Ambition leads to a path. Tang always instructed his siblings from his own perspective, never considering their real needs. Tang's wife also advised him not to always assume he was right, but to consider how he was educating his brothers. Despite the advice, Tang didn't listen, and nothing changed. Eventually, on a festival day, his siblings wrote back to him saying, "You are good at instructing others, but your methods don't actually help us." After receiving this letter, Tang deeply regretted his actions and began to reflect on himself. From then on, he stopped trying to instruct others and became more open to other people's opinions. There's a saying, "Don't interfere too much in other people's lives, even if it's genuinely for their good, because it's their life." On life's journey, everyone has different paths and needs. Even if you mean well, no one likes to be preached to. After middle age, we must realize that truly considering others doesn't mean becoming a teacher or preaching to them, as your limited experiences can't support their entire lives. If capable, it's better to offer practical help, curb the desire to teach, and learn humility. At any age, maintain a progressive attitude so that others will respect you unconditionally. 57. Helping others is important, but it should be done with some measure of restraint. Being kind without principles can be seen as weak. Not everyone in this world is grateful, and while being good is valuable, it must also be sharp. A netizen named Hoa shared her story. Hoa was a middle manager at a company, earning a high salary with a bright future. She managed the company's supply chain and was directly in charge of sales, where errors could cause significant losses. Once, a team member under her mispriced an item by tens of millions, leading to a lower selling price and significant company losses. After the department head investigated, the employee approached Hoa and shared her family's struggles. "My in-laws need medicine all year, my child needs to go to school, and my husband only gets a basic salary as his company isn't doing well." Moved by her employee's situation, Hoa told the director the error was hers, took full responsibility, and offered to give up her bonus. Thus, the employee was not punished, protected by Hoa. Later, the employee asked Hoa for a raise, citing financial difficulties and heavy workload. Hoa, feeling compassionate again, advocated for her in front of the director. It seemed the matter was settled, but a few months later, upper management caught wind of it and demanded a strict investigation. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Hoa met with the employee, urging her to clarify the incident proactively. Hoa also stated that as a middle manager, she couldn't just stand by. Surprisingly, instead of feeling guilty about the mistake, The employee blamed Hoa and insisted she was not at fault. There's a saying, kindness is only true kindness when both feel it. The Godfather states, being naive with no boundaries will only allow others to take advantage of you. Unprincipled kindness will only encourage them further. In middle age, we should understand that kindness needs moderation. If you are blindly kind and soft, you're only encouraging others' greed and ultimately harming yourself. For others' requests, firmly refuse those who should be refused and help those you can within your capabilities. This is your responsibility to yourself. Kazuo Inamori said, life is not a material feast, but a cultivation of the soul, making the end more noble than the beginning. Life is a process of cultivation, and in the latter half, the most important thing is to have a clear head and a stable mindset, avoiding delusions and focusing on being practical, serious, and hard-working. Stop preaching to others. Learn to be humble and polite. Don't be weak. Help others within your means. Life is short. Learn to be wise. Do what you should, and be cautious with what you shouldn't. Let us all aim for a better life. 58. Step back in these 3 situations. We have heard plenty of advice and faced many challenges, yet our lives don't seem to improve much. Upon reflection, the mistake often lies in always moving forward without knowing when to step back. People tend to dislike rest, always pushing themselves to keep going. However, the wise know the value of being one step ahead, not in speed, but in timely realization. Life is long, and sometimes what's best isn't only ahead of us, but also behind. Knowing when to step back can lead to victory. 1. Constantly pushing forward can corner you. I come from a poor family, and my goal since childhood was to live comfortably. Despite years of hard work enabling me to enjoy a decent lifestyle, I felt embarrassed seeing peers who achieved wealth sooner. This drove me to relentless effort towards wealth. However, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't excel at my job. My investments faced roadblocks and losses. One day, I realized, you can't earn beyond your perception. The higher your expectations for yourself and your loved ones, the more disappointment and exhaustion you'll feel. Many people, despite having enough, still feel dissatisfied. An old saying goes, a strong bow cannot be always drawn. As we age, especially around 50 or 60, the professional race reaches its limits. Job hunting becomes difficult and maintaining a current position is challenging. Soon retirement age approaches and any hurried business investments are likely to fail, risking your retirement funds. Although there are success stories in later years, not everyone will be one of those rare cases. In ancient times, King Zhuang of Chu, even when his dynasty was in decline, refused to give up. He borrowed money and pledged land, which only led to deeper debt, hiding under tables when creditors arrived. Hence the saying, debts as high as the mountain. Those aware of the times are the truly talented. When there's nowhere left to go, stubbornly moving forward might lead you into a dead end. 2. Stepping back opens up new possibilities. According to the Tao Te Ching, the brave will perish by their bravery. The not-so-brave can survive by it. Those who are too rigid are like dry trees, easily broken. The wise, however, remain humble, smiling and nodding. This allows them to adapt to various environments and live peacefully. Thus, depending on life's flow and changing circumstances, choosing the right moment to step back is wisdom. Firstly, don't annihilate your opponents even in victory. Knowing when to hold back ensures safety. During the Northern Song dynasty, General Di Qing, upon an enemy's retreat, ordered not to pursue. He questioned what if the enemy turned back to fight. This restraint was praised as a virtue of true leadership. If you have gained what you desired, avoid further greed. This restraint is the mark of true wisdom. Secondly, in chaotic situations, the best defense is a quiet withdrawal. If you find yourself surrounded by controversy and conflicts, it's wise not to engage. By withdrawing, those with wisdom can change a chaotic scene into a peaceful one. So, step back, keep out of strife, and conserve your energy. Thirdly, when at the peak, don't sit there too long, learn to step down proactively. A mountain cannot have two tigers. While everyone knows this, few want to step down from the peak until forced to, leaving with both anger and embarrassment. Fate turns like a wheel. Having enjoyed good fortune for a while is enough. By yielding a step, others will regard you as magnanimous. As the saying goes, to advance, think of retreating. To hold, definitely learn to let go. Stepping back sometimes sets the stage for future advancements. 59. 4 things to let go of. As you age for a peaceful retirement. As we age, it's wise to let go of 4 specific concerns, understanding that smart people don't hold on to them. Simply live each day contentedly, believing that no one cares how long you might live. Expecting too much only leads to greater disappointment. High climbs lead to painful falls. Although this is a common understanding, many still fall into this trap. As you grow older and reflect on your youthful hopes, you'll likely realize that some were just illusions. The best approach is to let go and live peacefully. If you want to enjoy your later years, avoid clinging to these 4 types of hopes, or else your final years may be filled with regret and pain. 1. Don't believe that more children bring more blessings. While children are a joy and a source of pride, expectations must be tempered as they and we grow older. Every person has their own life. We can't ensure they will always be with us. Don't think having many children equates to more blessings, as more family members can mean more conflicts. Appreciate what you have, and don't burden your children with unrealistic expectations. In the end, any suffering is yours alone. 2. Don't focus too much on having a big house for a comfortable retirement. A home should be a place of security and comfort. While it's common to strive for a home and car when young to secure shelter, some take the goal of a large home to an extreme, neglecting their health until it's too late. Lowering your standards can be a smarter way to live. As you age, you'll find that having a simple place to call home is a true blessing. 3. Don't chase the idea of a long, perfect life. In reality, as health declines, so does happiness, especially for the elderly with many ailments. Living another day can be an exhausting struggle. Just live each day with satisfaction, not worrying about how long you might live. Aim for simplicity in dealing with life and death, and avoid tormenting yourself with thoughts of living longer. 4. Don't easily choose to retire to the countryside. Many elderly understand the appeal of returning to their roots, especially those from rural areas who cherish a simple, loving childhood. However, those who have been away for years might find returning suddenly inconvenient due to poor transportation, lower living standards, and the need for house repairs, among other hassles. Of course, you can choose this way to enjoy your retirement years, but don't make the decision lightly and prepare thoroughly. Life in the countryside may be far different from what you imagine. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 60. Smart people have 8 don'ts when communicating. People with high emotional intelligence, EQ, always accept emotions, not only their own but also those of others. They use this ability to attract and connect people. As the author of the book, Emotional Intelligence Game Changers. 101 Ways to Win at Life and Work. Harvey Deutschendorf has spent 20 years studying the habits of emotionally intelligent people. If you want to build and develop meaningful relationships and eliminate toxic ones, you must be able to communicate effectively and understand others' body language. Here are 8 things that high EQ people never do when communicating. 1. Don't focus solely on themselves. Everyone appreciates being recognized for their abilities and talents. Therefore, when someone achieves something they are proud of, even if it's small, always acknowledge it positively. 2. Don't impose their opinions on others. When you argue with someone or make them feel forced, they naturally become defensive. This goes against your efforts to persuade them in a positive conversation. Instead, let the other person feel in control by expressing themselves while you actively listen. 3. Don't say, "That's not my responsibility." High EQ people never refuse to help others if it's within their capacity. They are always ready to share their time and knowledge. They view their role as an important part of a larger whole and often seek ways to contribute to their company or organization. 4. Don't waste time with anyone. High EQ people tend to stick with those who are positive, share similar goals and aspirations. They support each other and celebrate each other's achievements. On the other hand, negative people can drain your energy. Try to minimize interaction when around them. 5. Don't let themselves be distracted. Have you ever talked to someone who was distracted looking around or checking their watch? In such situations, you can truly feel unimportant to them. High EQ people always show others that they are focused and listening by making eye contact, smiling, and engaging visually. 6. Don't forget the little details. High EQ people, when meeting someone for the first time, often repeat the person's name and refer to it throughout the conversation. By doing so, you make a strong impression on those around you. As your relationship deepens, consider recording important dates, like birthdays or anniversaries, and then send a card or call to celebrate on those days. 7. Don't engage in pointless jokes. If your words and actions could upset someone during a conversation, it's best not to say them. Most emotionally intelligent people avoid such jokes as they can make everyone lose interest and feel uncomfortable. 8. Don't say everything. Emotionally intelligent people always try to listen and understand a situation that the other person is facing. They ask questions that allow people to open up, thus understanding and empathizing with each other's emotions. This makes the conversation more meaningful. 61. Master one trade before dreaming of wealth. Trying to do multiple things at once might seem efficient, but in reality, it isn't. Spreading your energy too thin across various tasks often leads to superficial engagement and shallow thinking, which might expose your weaknesses and eventually lead to consequences. Wise words from experienced individuals like Charlie Munger often hold truth. Since 1987, Munger has consistently provided insightful and candid responses at shareholder meetings, encouraging deep thought and disciplined focus. Focus, self-discipline, and surrounding yourself with like-minded people. At the 2015 Daily Journal shareholder meeting, shareholders asked Munger about maintaining focus, secrets to success, reading habits, and organizing notes. Charlie Munger: I was born with the ability to focus intensely. When I decide to focus on studying or any task, I can shut out the external world and not even notice others around me. I can tell you that all the smart people I've met read a lot. Although today's world is digital, I still believe that reading physical books is superior to screens, as it enables deeper learning. Multitasking often leads to inefficiency and superficial work. Concentrating on one task with full dedication is crucial for success. My success depends more on my ability to focus than on my IQ. If I've achieved anything, it's because I thoroughly ponder questions, develop deep insights, and act decisively after finding the right answers. Many believe that running can help them win in life. If you think running will make you successful, then by all means, run. At the 2019 shareholder meeting, a young shareholder asked, "Sir, as a young person, how can I achieve success like yours?" Charlie Munger. It's hard to influence the next generation, and mediocrity is a common outcome. Only a few succeed, and they are the minority. How to succeed? Self-discipline, ethical conduct, finding like-minded people, and seizing rare opportunities are all simple principles. Question from a shareholder. Mr. Munger, you and Mr. Buffett are role models for us. How can I follow in your footsteps? Charlie Munger. Many ambitious young people ask us similar questions. I always say that I gradually became wealthy. I took it step by step, starting small. I worked tirelessly, saved patiently, and endured tough times quietly. If you're looking for quick ways to get rich, you're asking the wrong person. You're young and have a long road ahead, so why not succeed more slowly? It's a good way to pass the time. You can't expect to play landlord every day, can you? Every day we ask ourselves how to become wiser. We strive to handle greater responsibilities and improve our work. Progress isn't always visible, but it comes from daily perseverance and hard work. Young people, remember to stay clear-headed even when you achieve small successes. Currently, you may be chasing beautiful women and fancy cars, but as you age, you might realize these aren't what you truly desire. Ultimately, my path to success has been gradual and marked by long-term hard work. You will earn what you deserve. To succeed, you must be worthy of it. Should I specialize in one area or be knowledgeable in many? At the 2017 shareholder meeting, a young shareholder interested in diverse fields asked, "In an era that values specialization, is there a way to pursue a broad knowledge base?" Charlie Munger. That's a good question. I enjoy learning about various fields, but for most people, focusing on a specialty is the right path. Although specialization is important, a broad understanding is essential. It's wise to spend 10% to 20% of your time learning the basics of other disciplines. I often joke that if you only specialize and lack broad knowledge, you're like a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. You must understand the fundamentals of each field to avoid being narrow-minded in your specialty, but you should also focus on your main work. Another question from a young person entering the workforce. I'm new to society and looking for a suitable career path. Currently, I'm confused. I consider two aspects when choosing a career. One is the job I can do best, and the other is the job where I can contribute the most to society. Is this the right approach? Charlie Munger. How can one know which job is suitable? Let me share from my experience. In life, I can't do things I'm not interested in. How can someone succeed if they spend their days doing things they dislike? People need to engage in activities that interest them. We can't suppress our nature. No matter how hard we try, we can't force ourselves to like what we dislike. Second, we must maximize our advantages and do what we excel at. If you're only 5 feet tall, how can you stand out on a crowded basketball court? Therefore, when choosing a career, you should combine your interests and advantages and consider them comprehensively. You mentioned contributing to society, which relates to ethics. We all need to be ethical. However, don't assume that your thoughts are profound while the outside world is trivial, always thinking the world is against you and that you don't fit in. My idol is the Jewish philosopher Maimonides. Maimonides was first a physician who helped the world. He worked hard for 10 to 12 hours a day, completing many philosophical works in his spare time. Maimonides believed that people should live the fullest life possible. I suggest young people engage in more practical activities and learn from Maimonides. How to live happily. In 2021, shareholders asked Munger for advice on living a happy life. Sir, you are a wise man. How can one lead a happy life? What principles should be followed? Charlie Munger. It's not hard to live a happy life. If you want to be happy, first lower your expectations. This is something you can control. Unrealistic expectations often lead to misery. I excel at lowering my expectations, and it has served me well. Also, when faced with adversity, you must endure and work hard. Blaming others and constantly complaining will only make things more painful and difficult. A shareholder asked, "Some believe that marriage isn't a worthwhile investment. What do you think about the value of marriage?" Charlie Munger. Everyone has their own way of living. For most people, marriage is the best option. Statistics show that married people generally live longer. When happiness is measured by external expressions like smiles, married individuals are happier. Life is tough enough, and most people are better off married. We should value the institution of marriage. I admire the family-oriented perspective in Asian culture. Confucianism places great importance on family, and I think this is very reasonable. If we lose the concept of family, our civilization will lose its foundation. Shareholder asked, "What is the most satisfying thing you've done in your life?" Charlie Munger. I value family more than wealth and status, but I also despise poverty. I have worked hard to escape poverty. I am satisfied with my current life. Larry Page and Sergey Brin of Google are so remarkable that I dare not compare myself to them. Many young people today are eager to get rich. Rushing to make money can backfire. It's better to gradually become wealthy. Becoming wealthy is an enjoyable process. Become wealthy slowly, and that way, you can truly appreciate the wonderful journey. 62. 10 Daily Habits of Wealthy People. Transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. 1. Manage your emotions. When conflicts arise at work, first manage your own emotions. Be wise and control your mood in all situations to more easily resolve difficulties. Once you've managed your emotions, proceed with communicating and resolving conflicts with colleagues and clients. Remember, never let personal feelings interfere with your work, and avoid holding on to negative emotions as they complicate both your work and your life. 2. Speak up and ask questions. If you encounter any issues or difficulties at work, immediately seek advice from colleagues and leaders. Remember, be smart. Don't hesitate to ask questions and express your own ideas. If your plan isn't approved, don't get upset. Ask why to learn and improve your future plans. 3. Plan your work carefully. List specific tasks and plan in detail what needs to be done and in what order. Also, after completing each project, review it to identify strengths and weaknesses of the plan. You might not always finish on schedule, but you can still learn valuable lessons for future plans. 4. Know your purpose. Wealthy people differ from the average as they always know what they want and what needs to be done to achieve it. They focus on personal and professional development rather than shifting aimlessly from one thing to another without knowing their purpose. Moreover, they are smart about setting goals and measuring success, continuously refining their strategies to maximize effectiveness. 5. Be responsible. Mistakes in work are sometimes inevitable. Don't run from them. Be responsible. This is a valuable lesson that helps you grow and improve both personally and professionally for your future career. Also, a strong sense of responsibility, discipline, and clear rules are essential for quick advancement. 6. Never stop learning. Constant learning is crucial for rapid growth and a promising future. Observing and learning accumulate experience and skills for your work, enhancing your logical thinking. Also, be responsible for your work. Don't rely on others to help. Be proactive and disciplined. 7. Learn to say no. Learning to decline unreasonable requests from colleagues is essential for survival and growth in the office. Don't be afraid to say no at the right time, as failing to do so can lead to unnecessary troubles and wasted time. Moreover, knowing when to refuse rightly helps colleagues recognize their flaws, fostering mutual growth in work. 8. Master communication skills. In work, you will interact with many people of varying personalities. Stay sharp and learn communication techniques to not be overshadowed in discussions. Being observant and catching small details from others gives you an edge in conversations, leading to more opportunities for development and self-expression. 9. Keep yourself busy. Beyond work hours, spend plenty of time enriching your life and nurturing your soul. Expand your social circle and meet new people, which is a great way to hone your communication skills. Also, engage in reading and exercising to maintain a healthy body, supporting better work performance. 10. Respect your colleagues. Always show respect to your colleagues at work, regardless of their position. Respect is crucial for creating a healthy work environment. Never act superior to those in lower positions, as it reflects low emotional intelligence and hampers your success.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
63. Men who possess these 4 qualities get richer as they live. 1. Grateful and duty-bound. Brazilian film director Walter Salles once shared a memorable experience while filming in the western outskirts of the city. There, he met a young shoeshine boy. Initially, the boy offered to shine Walter's shoes, but he declined. The boy then pleaded, "Sir, if you won't get a shoe shine, could you lend me some money? I haven't eaten all day. I promise to work harder at shining shoes, and I'll come back in a week to repay you." Moved, Walter handed over a few coins. The boy thanked him profusely and ran off. Unexpectedly, the shoeshine boy really did come back to find him at the station. Sweaty and out of breath, he handed Walter a few coins, saying, "I've been waiting here for you for a long time, and today I can finally pay you back." Walter took the sweaty coins, handed them back to the boy, and told him, "Come to the film company office downtown tomorrow. I have something wonderful for you." The next day, Walter cast the boy as the lead in his new movie. That shoeshine boy was Vinícius de Oliveira, now a famous Brazilian actor. Under Walter's guidance, Vinícius successfully played the main character in the film Central Station, Central do Brasil, which won many prestigious awards, including the Golden Bear at the Berlin International Film Festival. Years later, Vinícius de Oliveira became the president of a film company and wrote a memoir titled My Life as an Actor. Not all smart people succeed. The difference lies in each person's character. Those who are petty and hesitant, always calculating for personal gain, usually cannot accomplish great things. Only those who can conquer themselves can conquer their fate. 2. Confident but not arrogant. No pain, no gain. The road to success involves much hardship before reaping the rewards. Confident people, no matter what they do, stay steadfast and aren't afraid of failure. Confident men are usually intelligent, ambitious, decisive, and do not shy away from difficulties. Even in failure, they remain resilient and quickly recover to continue advancing. Life is full of challenges, and confidence is essential. A confident person is likely to find success in whatever they do. 3. Not afraid of hardship. As the saying goes, those who are not afraid of hardship suffer briefly, while those who fear hardship suffer all their life. Thomas Edison persevered after countless failures to invent the electric light bulb. Abraham Lincoln faced many adversities, but never gave up and eventually became the President of the United States. Even top billionaires like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos failed painfully hundreds of times before achieving immense wealth. From the stories of these famous individuals, we learn that persistence leads to success. A resilient man will not give up due to difficulties, will not be subdued by reality, nor discouraged by obstacles. The measure of a person's success is not the heights they reach, but how they stand up after falling into the abyss. Thus, perseverance is essential to build enough strength for success. The more one strives to overcome difficulties, the more motivated they become to achieve success. 4. Humility is strength. Russian literary critic Belinsky said, "All that is true and great is simple and humble. The more capable a person is, the more humble they tend to be. Indeed, a ripe grain bows its head. The more mature a person is, the more they should know to be humble, respecting others before expecting respect in return. A person who can restrain themselves and remain humble while continuously improving will inevitably reach success." Around us, there are undoubtedly many very successful men, whether in family or career, who are worthy of envy. They possess many qualities worth learning from. In fact, we all can become the ideal versions of ourselves we aspire to be. So, if there's something you need to change, go ahead and change it. 64. 3 honest statements that someone with high emotional intelligence would never say to their boss. 1. It's not my fault. It's not related to me. In a team, everyone usually has different tasks and responsibilities, but sometimes teamwork is necessary. In any situation, a wise person will never say, "It's not my fault," or "It doesn't concern me," especially when things go wrong. Behaving this way will certainly make leaders think you lack responsibility. Even if it truly wasn't your fault, you should think about how to handle the situation together with your team. Leaders are more interested in solving the problem than in assigning blame. So, this is also an opportunity for you to demonstrate your abilities at work. 2. I'm busy, I can't do it. In a team, staying in your comfort zone forever can hinder your personal growth. Especially when a leader assigns you a task, it means you are deemed capable, or you should challenge yourself with new responsibilities. Therefore, don't quickly refuse a supervisor's request. You might be turning down your own opportunities. If you hastily refuse opportunities given by your boss, they will likely have a poor impression of you. No leader wants to retain an employee who is unwilling to learn or improve. Facing a challenging task, try to find a solution, show a proactive attitude, a willingness to learn, and accept challenging and new tasks. Leaders will appreciate your drive and diligence. Someone with high EQ always knows how to seize opportunities to grow and gain more experience. If you are truly busy or feel incapable of handling the task, suggest alternatives as early as possible. Provide legitimate reasons to ensure your boss does not misunderstand or misjudge you. 3. I promise I'll try harder in the future. Another phrase that emotionally intelligent people avoid saying to their boss is, "I promise I'll try harder in the future." Promises should be made judiciously and kept. If you consistently make empty promises, it will only lead to anger and disappointment from your superiors. Instead of making promises, focus on actively improving and changing your work habits. We need to strive daily to change ourselves rather than waiting for some future date to start trying. Thus saying, "I promise I'll try harder in the future," holds little weight. Instead of making such statements, focus on actively improving your skills. The results of your efforts will be the best response you can provide to your leadership. Even if you feel that you have recently been underperforming and want to improve in the future, there's no need to make a promise. If you do not make any improvements, your superior will likely dismiss your words and promises anyway. 65. Truly fortunate people. Typically avoid three things. Life is full of traps and temptations, and if you can see through them without engaging, you will undoubtedly lead a peaceful life. A truly fortunate person, blessed by providence, isn't necessarily wealthy. Happiness is the essence of fortune. Having a peaceful and happy life is a true blessing from above. Often, the wealthy may not enjoy peace and happiness. Those with less money might live more leisurely lives. Thus, fortune is not measured by money. In reality, for humans, a fortunate life involves not suffering significant losses, having 3 meals a day, being debt-free, and not controlled by anything. To achieve such fortune, it depends on us. 1. Bad habits. We all have or have had bad habits. No one is perfect. If it's a minor bad habit, it's harmless. But if these are harmful bad habits, they're a serious red flag. You must be alert enough to eliminate these bad habits immediately. Otherwise, you will be throwing away your own good fortune. These habits can cost you your health and dignity and even affect your family life. For instance, some people stay up late just to use their phones. Over time, this can lead to vision problems and potential heart issues. Even brain function can become sluggish. Bad habits usually form to fulfill some need in life. They often arise to satisfy psychological desires or relieve stress, like drinking to relieve stress or staying up late due to anxiety, a way of avoiding thinking about the future. A habit is not bad if we engage in it occasionally to relieve stress or as a form of self-reward. It becomes a bad habit when we practice it repeatedly over a long period, to the extent that it negatively impacts our lives. If you are stressed or anxious, address it positively, and remember not to let it become an addiction. 2. People of poor character. The old saying, "Choose your friends wisely," underscores the importance of selecting who we associate with. This applies not just to friends but also to business partners and even relatives. We must carefully choose based on their character and integrity. A poor choice can make you uncomfortable and negatively affect your life trajectory. I have a relative who, because of associating with a bad friend, has caused family strife and weakened relationships. That friend liked to sow discord and then exploit situations for personal gain. Smart people will never befriend those with significant character flaws because such people can pollute their spirit and life. 3. Wasteful spending. Adults often discuss financial management. We need money for food, clothing, transportation, entertainment, and investing in the future, so managing finances effectively is crucial to life. Smart individuals do not allow themselves to become addicted to spending money. They exhibit strong self-control. I know some people whose habit of overspending has made them boastful and arrogant. They measure everything in terms of money and look down on others. However, they also frequently empty their wallets and then scramble to borrow money to sustain their lifestyles. Over time, their friends have distanced themselves because of this behavior. The spending habits of adults reflect their self-discipline. A person lacking in self-discipline cannot achieve a quality life. Even if Providence wants to help, it can't do much for someone who doesn't manage their life well. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.